doing that game was hoping that Kennedy might have been returning for the game against the Sydney Swans. And it's been a bit of a revolving door, that last tall forward, hasn't it, at times, with them all coming through. But Logan McDonald is back in for Amati.
Yep.
Happy enough with that, Dan? You saw them last week, I think.
He still does some good things, Joel Amati, and he's probably at this stage more capable in the air. And not to say that McDonald isn't, but Amati can reach very high off the ground. He's probably a little bit more athletic at this point in time. But it seems to be, though, like they will give it just feels to me that they are giving a little bit more scope and chances to McDonald than they are to the other two boys.
Still no Josh Kennedy, so look, he might well be the sub from here on in. They might give him a run or two to make sure he hits some fitness, but could be his role come finals. Brisbane and Carlton, this is a cracker. Rich and Starcevic are the confirmed ins for Brisbane. Cockatoo and Robinson have made way, so Mitch is out of the team again, and Darcy Ford, of course, as the sub from last week.
Stay sub?
Well, he's back out of the team, so I don't think he'll be the sub.
Well, it's interesting because the reason he was a sub last week are the same reasons this week. I mean, clearly they don't want to play Danaher in the ruck because of his shoulder. They want to play Hipwood in the ruck because of his knee reconstruction. Maybe it's going to have to be McStay, who backs up in the ruck, even though it's probably not his preferred position. I don't think they think he's as good as he needs to be in the ruck, but probably better than having Ford as the sub.
And Carlton, Marchbank, Nunes, Jack Martin gets another chance, comes in, and Paddy Dow.
Did you say Marchbank?
Yep. So
Marchbank, that's fantastic.
Is in. Yep.
Caleb Marchbank makes his...
Well, he made that return and it only lasted 1 week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But that's great that he's come back up so quickly.
Durden's been managed. Kennedy is out with concussion and a broken jaw. Newman with that knee.
Dow in straight onto Lockie Neal. They've got to find a role for that kid.
And Pittonet is out managed.
Not surprised.
So they've gone back to Silvani as the second ruck.
Well, they just looked a little bit slow, and more so Pittonet just didn't look right. He's not ready to... if he's going to make that work, he's going to have to dominate, and he didn't get near it last week.
Have you lost complete faith in Brisbane as a flag contender? Are they too loose in defence?
There's a lot got to change for them to become flag contenders.
Yeah.
Systematically, and the way they applied themselves as defenders was dreadful in the second half. That's rectifiable, so I'm not writing them off. It is very rectifiable because it seemed to be half attitude.
Did Carlton make it?
Something we want to happen dramatically. I mean, they've got to win stoppage. They're just, and to me, a few of their bulls, led by their best bull in the middle, haven't been as good as they were early in the year.
I think the loss of Hewitt
George Hewitt.
George
Hewitt for the rest of the year now.
I mean, he was all Australian halfway through the year, and unfortunately for him, he's missed a few games.
It's funny though, they don't, for midfield role players.
Yep.
They don't get a gig in the
I think he's been more than that this year, though. His numbers have been extraordinary.
Will they find a way to get a win or two?
I think they'll get in. I'm backing the Blues best.
Yeah, I think they'll get in.
You've ridden them this year, haven't you?
I certainly hope they get there. It'll be a great pity if they don't.
Big challenge for Harry. Harry's, the last couple of weeks hasn't got near it, and for them to beat Brisbane, he's probably got to kick 3 or 4.
You made a great point. And I've always felt this, even when played against them and didn't like them. It's a healthy competition when Carlton are good.
Still got this vague idea in the back of my mind that if they really light up in the last 4 weeks, they could have a run at it. Never mind just making it.
Well, there's 250,000 supporters just going, yes, we can, just then.
Their best footy's as good as I've seen this year. It's been extraordinary, but they've got to be topped up. And with Mitch McGovern back in, they get a chance.
Ooh, there's a team out to the edge of the field here, Ardo.
Pies making their way out, bounce of the ball, still 14 minutes away. The final game team's point of view, no change for Adelaide. But for West Coast, who they play over in Perth, it's Josh Kennedy's farewell game, so he, naturally enough, is back in. Zach Langdon returns, Pachevsky-Seton is in. Petruccelli out with a hamstring again, so that's a worry for him and his future. West is injured, and Cully, if he wasn't injured, was suspended anyway, and he was injured at the same time, and Dixon, the Medi sub from last week. In terms of the other interesting selection for me was Port Adelaide. against Richmond with Marshall already out with the protocols, and yet Georgiades gets dropped from the Port Adelaide team.
Well, structurally it doesn't make sense, but they've brought in another big ruckman who was pretty impressive first time round.
One of the great names in football.
Teakle, yes.
If I was living a little bit further towards the west, I'd be looking at Georgiades the way that some are looking at Rankin from Adelaide.
Yeah. I think Port do realise his value. I can't see them
Just super
let him
talent. I would think he would be on the radar to drag back home at some stage to Perth.
God damn, he was terrible last week.
Was he?
So that's why he's been dropped. Because you actually just can't play that badly, no matter what's going on in the rest of the team.
Stanley rushed back for the Cats, which is interesting. So Rowan out with concussion, so they can run the two rucks. Maybe they just want to have a look at it, see if they can go with Segler and Stanley.
He's entitled to get straight back though if he's 100% fit. I mean, his form has been good.
Absolutely, it has. But I just would have thought they would have, with a knee, you just not take any chances at this stage.
Has it changed so dramatically? In our day, my day, it was 4 games to go before the finals. You played the way you wanted to move into finals. You didn't tinker then. But we're seeing Carlton last week, and it would seem that we're looking at Geelong now with 2 games left after this one. They're still looking at an experimentational period with 2 big ruckmen.
Yeah, I think they would have done it. But
last week
they haven't been available.
Segler
This is the first time they're available, so
it's late to do it.
It is.
Like a lot of
they've been
teams
itching to get a look at it all year, I reckon.
A lot of teams would just say, "No, too late. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
We're settled." And that's the way we
clearly
go.
Melbourne
still
are experimenting right now. They've got a new half-back flank, and into the middle goes Brayshaw.
And they're out in the ground, so we might leave the rest of the round because we're down to the last 10 minutes before this huge game that's going to kick things off.
So let's head into the garage for our match preview thanks to Autobarn. Autobarn has all your top automotive gear at low prices. Our experts tonight, Dermot Burton and Gerard Healy. Throughout the season, our experts are dressed thanks to Ringers Western. Ringers Western clothing that looks great in the city and toughs it out on the land.
Dermot, the question for me is, can Collingwood move the ball like they would like to against the Melbourne Footy Club, who strangled and completely asphyxiated Fremantle last week? Their defence got right back to its absolute best. It's an 18-man defence, but May was back to his best. Salem, Lever, Petty, Hibbard and Hunt gave them a bit of a spark off that half-back line. But they worked in sync right across the board. They were kick-started by Jack Viney, who's just a fantastic player. And through the middle of the ground, this isn't one of the best groups I've seen in footy. Jackson, Gawn, Oliver, Brayshaw, Viney and Petrarca. That is one hell of a group to kick your start. Oh. And if Collingwood's going to win, they're going to have to match them, if not beat them.
And that's where the Taylor Adams exclusion really hurts them. We talked a little bit earlier with Scotty Selwood, and for me it's the ifs. If Collingwood can avoid kicking the ball with hang time of 3 seconds or more away from May, Lever and especially Max Gawn.
Yep.
If they can move it without having hang time in their area, they'll do really, really well. If they can control Clayton Oliver at the stoppage, they'll do really, really well. Melbourne, I expect Melbourne's best football, though, is capable of knocking over the Pies tonight. Once again, we go back to the if. If Melbourne's forwards are capable of beating the Collingwood backmen, and I'm looking at the matchups, and I think, gee, I'm almost swayed in favour of Collingwood's backline and their ability to lock down that Melbourne forward line. So all these ifs come into play, and then the overall is, can Collingwood match that intensity? Can they get through this strangle formation that Melbourne have got back into their game and forces you, when you're coming forward, to kick the safe option down the line where Max Gawn stands underneath the footy?
Yeah, Melbourne want to play in the corridor, and the corridor is not the middle, it's the corridor around the ground, so they can just crush you inside that cage. But I like the fact of Melksham coming in. I think that unlike Brisbane, who are still going with the 3 tools and having problems keeping the ball in their forward line, Melbourne have made the call to drop a tall, and they're going with Melksham. They've brought him in. I suspect he'll line up on Jeremy Howe and try and just make him accountable for him rather than floating off and taking intercept marks. There's some good players. They got back to their best, the small forwards for Melbourne. The pressure was back, Spargo and Pickett.
So you don't think that arresting Luke Jackson or Max Gawn will play in the forward line?
No, I do. I think you've got Brown and Jackson as your tools, and I consider Fritsch as sort of a hybrid.
Yep.
And then you've got your three basic ground level players in Melksham, Spargo and Pickett. But the beauty for the tools is it hasn't rained, and it looked like it was going to be horrible when we drove in here, but it's been pretty dry ever since.
So the Kubota cast for Kubota Together We Are Shaping and Building Australia, 11 degrees, setting for a low of 9. This app has rain due in the next 20 minutes and throughout the first half. So let's see. This hasn't always been the best guide in recent times, I must say, but there is rain forecast to 90% chance pretty shortly. Kubota's Shaping and Building Australia.
One of the interesting things about Collingwood's forward line, Dermot, is we put a lot of store in marking, and yet in the last 4 rounds the Pies have marked just 4.5% of their one-on-ones in the forward line. So they're just getting it in there, and if don't worry about bagging Mason Cox if he doesn't take a mark, Collingwood supporters. They just want him to get it on the ground. A la the Hawks when Puopolo and Cyril were roaming the territory.
Oh, I'm getting all weak at the knees. I tell you what, Collingwood, for grunt-type play, when Collingwood are led up in the forward line by perhaps their youngest player, Ginvin is the youngest player, McCreery, his forward pressure is awesome. His ability to tackle, stick the tackle, hold the tackle, put pressure on the opposition is awesome. When they play that forward, inside 50, not even forward half pressure, that inside 50 pressure game, you can score, you kick it behind, and then you lock it in, and you squeeze up behind, and you pressure the ball into the front end of the ground. McCreery has the ability, you go in on a fast break, the spillage is there. The rest of the Collingwood backmen haven't come up to squeeze up the ground, but his pressure holds it there. They're fantastic at that, and that's an exciting aspect of the Magpies to watch. So I'm really looking forward to that. On paper and knowing the capabilities, it looks like the Collingwood forward line, if they're given equal share, is a bit more potent forward line at this point in time. But I still can't get away from the feeling of, because of that talent around the midfield that you've mentioned, Melbourne's best football is still probably ahead of Collingwood's. So that's what makes this such an enticing encounter. I mean, this bona fide gilt edge rubber stamps Collingwood, hey, we can win it this year, because we've seen Melbourne's rise in form last week to the standard we require. And if Collingwood can knock them over when they've got that kind of game under their belt 7 days ago, they're bona fides.
Well, if they're going to win it, they're just going to have to go back to their one, which is pressure. They're equal first in the competition for pressure post clearance, and that can drag down any side. It can drag down Melbourne, it can drag down Geelong, and it's dragged down 10 scalps in a row, Jared.
It has indeed, and it's been thrilling in almost every instance. In fact, the most convincing win was over Melbourne on the Queen's birthday. The teams are warming up for Ream. Ask your plumber to install a Ream steady, hot and strong. They were unmissable moments. Mason Cox was probably the best player on the ground that afternoon. Clayton Oliver had 43. He won the medal. Brody Myercheck was heroic up front. So a lot of the key pieces from that day meet, and it's not that many weeks on. Unmissable moments for Drinkwise. Choose to drink wise. You won't miss a moment if you drink wise. And we were noting before that there was a stack of rain in Melbourne in a really short period of time, but the ground is in terrific nick for Pope. The better way to water is the G's holding up so well throughout this winter.
Whenever you're here at the MCG during the week, the lights are on pretty much permanently. The low lights and the heat that it gives. It's
to make the grass grow.
Yeah, make the grass grow. It's an expense which is well worth having.
Solar panels up the top.
Sorry,
have they got solar
That's
panels
a good question.
up the top?
I haven't looked closely. We won't get into that debate, I don't think, Jared. Right here and now.
We're up in the Coates commentary box for Coates. No. We're more than higher. We're equipped for anything.
There's a wind farm just out the back there, Jared.
Salary Cap will have some wind farms up before you know it.
Very good. So when teams have met, like this is recent form.
Yeah. What was it, 6, 7 weeks?
It might be 8, but in the season
It's short.
Very relevant.
Yep.
Isn't it? So sometimes coaches will say it's just too long ago. This is not too long ago.
No, it's not. And Collingwood are still playing the same strain of football. I felt that Collingwood might have even played Melbourne out of their standard at that stage. So they were the ones that Melbourne couldn't recover from that properly to the standard that they require from that game. So
there's 220 solar panels on the roof.
Very good. Very good.
Electricity's too expensive if you haven't got.
So there we come into, Jared, again, the ifs. If Collingwood can do that again, but will Melbourne be prepared for it this time? Will Melbourne be able to stifle Collingwood's forward momentum game?
So Oliver had 43 and Collingwood won by 28 points.
But I didn't think he was awesome at the contest.
No, he wasn't. I agree with that.
Yes.
But so when you're making your adjustments, well, we didn't tag him last time and it didn't hurt us. So are we letting that roll? And are we going? Yeah. So I think that's one of the great ifs.
Well, he was tagged last week and successfully tagged. I know he had a lot of tackles, but he had 20 possessions and wasn't a major impact on the game. I thought Aish was a bit stiff not to get more coaches' votes. To be honest, he was in the best three on the ground in my view. But
and yet
I don't think Melbourne actually voted for him.
Yeah, and yet Aish tagged him successfully, and it seemed to make a big difference in the game earlier in the year when they played.
So right about now, I reckon premiership. Teams in the hunt for a premiership, and they absolutely know, hey, this is on real offer for us this year. We're getting serious now.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the harms exclusion weird for me. So there's only 2 more games after this for tonight till they turn into the final series. So I would say they're going, hey, we're serious now. We need to knock these blokes around to the point where they can't recover. There's a real bit of chest thumping in the last month as you get to viewing the finals. You can hear the crowd here. It's building up. Actually, that full top deck down the punt road end is quite big, isn't it? So I reckon there's some real chest thumping at this part of the season.
The final word from our experts for Shawl Unify, your national uniform and workwear experts.
I'm looking just to see the continued performance of Hunt across the back line. He's now trying to grab that premiership medallion that he missed out on. It's now or never for him. Good game last week, needs to continue it on. Melksham in exactly the same boat. Can he maintain his role by nullifying a Darcy Moore or a Jeremy Howe across the half-back line, the interceptors?
That was all for Autobahn. Top gear, low prices. Sirens sounds on a Friday night to begin round 21. The opening bounce for Tyre Power. Your match day favourites for tyre safety. You're with Anthony Hudson.
A smile and a hug for Ed Langdon on the wing from Steele side bottom. They stand 20 metres apart on the wing as opponents as the ball is bounced in the middle. It's tapped down to ground but goes no further than Jordan De Goey had the ball up.
Already we're seeing the absence of Taylor Adam. Braden Maynard is in the middle.
Great stuff.
Cameron just displaced his direct opponent in the ruck, grabbed the footy, then it slipped away from him, picked up by side bottom, flings the hand pass out to the wing. Maynard will get there to go against Oliver. Now Langdon got crashed.
Oh, look at him jump all over Langdon.
And they have jumped all over him. The crowd let him know their feelings, the Collingwood strong crowd.
4 went in to lay the tackle on him. They had him cold on the ground and 3 piled on top.
And as a result, it was a ball up. His emotions are stirred around the MCG early. They have a nice early yell and roar.
Luke Jackson in the ruck up against Darcy Cameron, and Cameron's beaten him cold the last 2 hit-outs.
Last line of defence for the Magpies, Nathan Murphy on Bailey Fritsch.
He got the tap again, Cameron, but again we don't travel too far away from where the umpire got things started. Brayshaw, though, flings the handball and went straight to Crisp, whose left foot kick inserts the pies. Oh, Stephen May could have taken the mark overhead. He took no chances. He double-fisted it to safety. And the boundary line 30 metres around from Collingwood's goal. We've gone 1:20. No score thus far.
That's not the kick they want going into the forward line. He wasn't under that much pressure, and he had May up the ground.
So deep forward for the Pies, shallow throw in. Jackson taps it down. Viney spins clear, dumps the kick outside the 50. Maynard propelled himself but missed it. Gawn gets hold of it. Hand passes loosely forward. Cut off by Howe. Shrugged his way through. The give and go with Maynard. Howe kicks to full forward. 3 on 3. The defenders flew with great intent, and Petty and Mays see it away out of play.
And Howe shrugged Melksham off, which is a big win for him. Melksham is going to run with him. It's a tag in the forward line, but he won the first votes.
Too much hang time on the 2 kicks that have gone inside 50 for Collingwood.
Right forward pocket. Cameron beautiful to De Goey. Snaps the goal. Artistry in the ruck. And Jordan De Goey inflicts the pain. Collingwood kicked the first. It took 2 minutes on the Tyre Power scoreboard. Your trusted tyre experts.
In our little bit of a commentary on what would happen, I've got 11 players who can go through the Collingwood forward line and have potency. That's a midfielder, Jordan De Goey, with potency, who's kicked the goal from stoppage.
And I'll tell you what, he was given silver service. Cameron's had an influence. I mean, Cameron is the one that got away from the Sydney Swans that I think they're still shedding tears over. But it's a big pickup. He's played well in finals, Cameron, and he has started particularly well with his hit-outs. That is what you call a hit-out to advantage.
He's staying with Jackson as they get ready to restart. And it's an interesting side conversation with Jordan to go, isn't it? If he has an excellent final series and Collingwood get close, I wonder if it might change his mind on his future. Centre bounce. This time Jackson does turn the tables. Got the tap. Penalty there. Jackson followed up. Loose ball. Viney thriving in that scenario. Drew some high contact from Crisp. He wants to move it by hand. He changed his mind at the last moment. Rolled onto the left. Sent it towards full forward. Melksham brought down a few with him. Spinning through Petrarca.
Oh, wow.
How he kept his balance and his bearings. I'll never know. What a goal.
Well, Dermot, we've had 2 fantastic goals, and I'm not quite sure whether there's more Melbourne people here or Collingwood. The roars have been pretty similar.
That goal by Petrarca, so just now we've got a bit more time, took it off the hands of the spillage of the boundary line throw in, recognised he was going to be tackled, went into a blind turn. They got him while his back was to goal, pinned him. A second tackler's getting hands on him. He still powers through the rest of the turn to get his body facing towards the goals and slams it onto the boot. Real power, real understanding of his capabilities.
It's one of the bonuses of having Brayshaw in the middle. I think they're a better side when Petrarca is roaming in the forward line a lot more than he has done.
A goal of the game for Host Plus, that's a plus. A goal apiece, early stages. Viney pokes the kick out of the middle. It lands 40 out. Gawn hit it, taken down by Maynard. Not sure he ever had it. Moore tumbles the kick out of the defensive area. Hoskin Elliott couldn't handle it. Lever pushed him away, gathering the footy. Gave it to Langdon and then to Brayshaw. Nursed the kick in the Petrarca direction. He flies, dropped the mark. Maynard just did enough not to give away the free kick. Pendlebury to Nick Dacos to De Goey, all in defence. And Josh Dacos is hot. Salem ran him down, holding the ball.
Well, this is the challenge with Collingwood. They love flicking the ball around, and Melbourne are hot on the pressure, and Salem came in at 100 miles an hour, and Dacos hasn't been used to that sort of heat.
One thing that Melbourne are doing in the setup at the centre bounce, you must have one player, one of your forwards, inside the goal square. They are getting 2 other forwards literally standing on the chalk of the goal square. So they're having 3 forwards within 9 metres of their goal, leaving all this space in the forward half of the ground for the other 3 Melbourne forwards to work in.
We don't see enough variation.
No, I reckon it's great. You throw something different in.
Christian Salem kicking for his first goal of the season from 48. He launches into it. Great contacts. Through for the major. 2 goals to 1 in a sprightly 6 minutes of football. Tyre Power scoreboard, your trusted tyre favourites.
Footy's been hot, and we've seen 1 goal from a tackle, we've seen 1 goal from a broken tackle, and we've seen 1 goal from
a rundown tackle.
Unpressured give from a ruckman to Goey. So 2 strikes to Melbourne, 1 strike to Collingwood, but she's a hot start.
So Lipinski, when De Goey went into the centre, Lipinski went into the forward goal square and Jamie Elliott went out. They've now swapped. Lipinski stays forward And Jamie Elliott goes back to the goal there at the punt road end.
Max gone into the ruck, and Jackson deepest forward in the goal square.
2 goals to 1, a 6-point lead to Melbourne. Centre bounce, Gawn was favoured slightly. Got the tap penalty first onto it. It's a greasy ball and slippery underfoot. Hard to keep your balance and control over the footy. And a loose boot from Dacos, and a free kick is paid to Oliver. So Oliver marches off. Kicks to about 30 from goal where Jackson resided. Couldn't take the mark, Nick Dacos. Hands were cool and calm to Murphy. Clearing kick. Johnson outpointed by Petty, who won the footy, but then he found himself the subject of a great tackle from Hoskin. Elliott, terrific Collingwood hands. Maynard received from Nick Dacos. Poor give though, intercepting Brayshaw. Comes with a rush, kicks it deep to Pickett. Just got there in time to make the spoil. Then he trapped it and bounced it towards goal. Tough for Melcham. Moore outsized him and kept it towards the line. Was he tackled without it? No throw it in.
Well, that's a couple of turnovers on handball. They're going for the chain of handball. Melbourne are pushing up, and they're coming at 100 miles an hour.
The game is hot for Ream, steady, hot and strong. Demons in the forward pockets. Jackson to the front, took it out of the ruck, fed the hand pass to Viney from the boundary, curls it through. The standard is spectacular. The Demons put up their third and quickly have Collingwood under siege. 3 straight to a goal on the Tyre Power, your trusted tyre expert scoreboard.
3 goals from stoppages in the forward line, too.
Yeah, and the centre clearance is 3-2 in favour of the D's. Each time they've taken it out of the middle and gone forward, it hasn't been fluent, but they've scored from stoppage once they've got it in there from that centre clearance, and that's thanks to the safety steel sheds. So those statistics, that's what I'm saying. You've got to control Melbourne in the centre of the ground. Every time they get the ball out of the centre and it goes inside 50, they are scoring with that.
Yeah, it's good effort by Jackson. Very clever to take the ball out of the ruck, elevate, give it off to Viney, and then a very acute shot at goal.
Ginnivan on.
Tyre Power, your trusted tyre experts. 3 goals to 1 to Melbourne's favour. They're going to get it out of the middle. Oliver played it to Brayshaw, who kicked it in the Brown direction, got hands to it. Murphy did enough, or Moore did enough at the front. Scouting the pack, Melcham to Neil Bullen on the back foot. A hand pass to Jordan, who can come forward, launch it low from 65 metres. Gone! Got rid of his opponent and dropped the mark. It was Cox who was back there. And now the clearing kick. It pitches from Noble and Witt to Pennebury. So clever. Working in tandem with Josh Dacos, and then back again. And one more for good measure. He can run the wing now, Dacos. He grubs the ball. A shoddy kick. Out of the conditions picked up by Brayshaw. Able to stretch the handball to May, and then at his bootstraps, Jordan skillfully trapped it, and his handball was just as good. Gets it back as Oliver faced a brick wall. Inverted torpedo. Gawn hands on it again. Again worried out of it by Cox. Melbourne kept coming. They drew some contact. No, Collingwood did. Without the football, and it's going to have.
Well, Viney and Brayshaw dominating proceedings early in the piece.
Brayshaw's support coverage to run into the back line then after pressing up into the forward line. Fantastic for his team.
How short to Noble. Kicks Collingwood out of half back. Myercheck presented. May made the spoil. Cameron plays Crummer. Neat hand pass to Lipinski, who found the path and used it perfectly. Elliott takes the mark. Ginnivan's on in the square. Elliott had a look. Thought better of it.
Quick break out of the stoppage there. Elliott ran back towards goal, and his opponent Hibbert went with him. He looked over his shoulder, saw that Hibbert was committed to running back in the same direction, stopped, prop, did the, what do we call it, the fish hook lead, came back at the kick, and it was a pretty simple pass in the end.
Jamie Elliott will move to the 50. The angle is only slight. Elliott, right foot drop, punts, unerring in its accuracy. And the Magpies fight back. 3 goals to 2 goals after 11 minutes.
How thrilling is footy when when the great players finished off by straight kicking?
Unbelievable start to this game. It reminded me of the great Peter McKenna, who always used to say of Jason Dunstall, and Dunstall ducks back. And that's what he did. He ducked back Jamie Elliott, and it was a great kick onto his chest, and he's a good finisher.
Conversation for another day, but I wish history started remembering Peter McKenna better than it is.
Oh, yeah.
What a player. 145 goals he kicked one year.
Good evening to Hot Lips if you're listening.
He's usually here.
He is.
He's a ripper. He's a ripper.
All going well. Our experts tonight for Shaw Unify uniform experts, Jared Healy and Dermot Burton.
It was a great kick going into it, Jamie Elliott. He just strolled in front and he took it on the chest. That was a beautiful pass.
Cox and Gawn went to work. Brayshaw to Petrarca and out to Langdon on the wing. He's going to be greeted with hoots all night. Neil Bullen's his target. Quaynor did well. Came with the flight. Made the spoil. Nick Dacos not great on the tidy up. Ball was charged down, but it does eventually reach Crisp, who worked it away. Carmichael has the touch. Maybe one hand pass too many. Josh Dacos, who lays the tackle to make sure it doesn't get out. He put plenty on that tackle for Neil Bullen as well.
He's just fumbled it a couple of times, Dacos. We're not used to seeing him making mistakes, but this is as hot a footy as he's probably played in.
Throw up, the ruckman wrestle. Cox prevailed. Smashed it down 15 metres Collingwood way. Gathered by Brayshaw to Langdon. And then to Sparrow and Petrarca, who was balanced as he kicked, but Noble got in front of Spargo. Made the spoil, got a shove, loose ball, Brown. Handled it well, back to Spargo. His kick smothered, though, by Murphy. Not just the flashy things being done well. And it's over the line and out of bounds.
Braden Maynard still on the bench, just having a breather, which suggests to me that he is going to be employed as a midfielder for probably all the night.
Tees by 6, throw in on their half forward, right on the 50. Brown doing the ruck work and got the tap down. Lipinski jammed it onto the boot, sent it back towards the wing. To go in a standoff, a battle of strength by Salem, which he won. Advantage paid. Brayshaw got it to Brown. To Oliver, 40 out, one more give. Neil Bullen scrambled a kick, sits on the top of the square. Howe played safety, and there's a free kick for high contact against Moore on Melcham.
That was there.
Young Nick Dacos he's first time this year. The kid's awesome. He's been wonderful. He's feeling a bit of heat tonight for the first time I've seen. He's been a bit panicky. He came off his man, came forward to try and intercept the ball, got caught a metre inside the baseline, no man's land.
I think a 50-metre paid. If you're going to give one away, you might as well when you're a metre out from
in
goal.
fact, you get some money for value for money there.
Melcham to blast it through to make it 4 straight 24 to 2 straight 12. Through 13 minutes of exhilarating football at the MCG. This is Toyota Good for Footy round, Toyota, and that's good for footy.
Well, it's been a good start. Moore hasn't been involved. Howe's had a couple of kicks on Melcham. But when you get back and you get a goal to your name and you're a defensive forward, you are earning your living. But it's hot, this game, and it's hard to imagine if you're listening to the radio, but gee, take it from us, this is as hot a game as I've seen for the year.
You know, when you watch a game and you support your teams and they might be in the bottom 4 or out of the 8, and you say, yeah, we love that, and we say, and then you come and see a game like this and you go, whoa, these guys are good.
Yep.
This is a really high standard game.
Melbourne leading the clearances 8-3 for safety steal sheds. The scoreboard 4 goals to 2 in their favour as a result. Jackson flew early. Cox ended up winning the tap. Stacks on underneath. De Goey ripped it clear, then got tackled by Oliver, and that's going to be, well, there's some low contact. The out of zone umpire. So De Goey without hesitation flings it forward. Lever across the front to make the spoil. It's going to be dealt with underneath. Jordan hand passed it away. Lever's hot. He hand passes it over the boundary. He was right there to do so. Throw it in.
They keep banging it into that forward line. At the moment, to no avail.
I'm going to tell you something that's happening with Nick Dacos at the moment. It's really clever by Melbourne.
Boundary throw in for Spitwater, tough and ready. 55 out from the Collingwood goal. Cox plonked himself in front. Got it to the back for De Goey. Just lowered the centre of gravity. Came charging through. Hangs it close to the boundary. Didn't do Johnson any favours. Petty spoils.
So we know that Nick Dacos, that he likes to be that 6th defender, the drop-off and the outlet player. Neil Bullen's got him. So Neil Bullen is making him be accountable and playing him like a centre-half forward and taking young Dacos to play like a centre-half back, and he's just not managing the situation at the moment. Here they go.
Cox to the back, Rivers off the ground outside the defensive 50. Brayshaw hand passed it up. Nick Dacos tried to interfere with it, but Oliver gave it back to Brayshaw over his head, turned it over. Crisp to Noble, plays it out wide to Sidebottom. So Collingwood changed the angle of attack. What's Sidebottom thinking? He runs around Langdon. He lobs it to the teeth of goal. Cox should have got it. He threw one hand at it, and that wasn't enough. Jordan and Petty and Viney and Hunt combine. A hand pass to Viney, who has a little fumble. Arch the back, got caught by Myercheck. Hand passed it away in hope, and it turns over.
It does. It's picked up by Crisp on the bounce to Josh Dacos. Skies it to Cox again. Hoskin. Elliott flew the pack. Didn't take the mark. On his feet first is Lever. Handball towards the boundary line. Was there enough representation of Melbourne? There was.
That's safe. That's safe.
Good pressure here, though, by Collingwood's forward line. They're getting multiple entries on this occasion. Got to get it through. To go, he started really well.
Our experts for sure, uniform experts. Throw in 15 metres around from Collingwood's goal. Punt road end of the stadium. Cox jumped early. Tap down, went from Jackson though to Oliver and then to Jordan, who's having a good quarter. Clears the defensive area. Melksham stayed up long enough to mark. He's being held by Noble.
That's a good match-up for Melbourne.
Down the line to Gawn swiftly. He should take it just forward of the wing. Then what? He waits. He gets the lead and the clap of the hands ahead, but not good delivery to Spargo. Max Gawn lets himself down and he's turned by kicking out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, they pushed Jeremy Howe over onto Ben Brown, which has released Melksham, and he was on Noble, and he's got Noble covered for size.
Yeah, he's capable in the air, isn't he?
Yep.
Howe with a long switch for Moore. Hand passes to Nick Dacos and out the southern side now for Quaynor. Running at half back. He sends a piercing pass forward for Sidebottom without hesitation. Hoskin Elliott. It had to land perfectly. There was a lot of interference. All of it was legal. Hibbert spins his way out of defence. Vardy takes the mark on the wing and takes off. Tumbles it forward. Awkward bouncing ball. Brown battered on. So clever. Off to Spargo. Kicks for Gawn. Pristine play from Melbourne.
Michael Hibbert, take a bow. He's coming off now, Michael Hibbert. He left his man, Jamie Elliott, ran 30 to 40 metres forward of him with a lot of risk, a lot of danger, and got the intercept, spoil, knock on back in his team's favour.
Yeah, the kick from Sidebottom set this one up, unfortunately for him. Just didn't hit the target. As Dermot said, Melbourne intercepted, and it was brilliant movement of the footy.
20 metres out, directly in front. Max Gawn ambles in. Oh, no, he missed.
Oh, Max, you blotted it.
Yeah, he missed to the left. It was all so good in the build-up and blundered at the last. It'll be an Amy Clanger.
It's a bit of an old Max against Geelong after the siren about 5 years ago.
So Collingwood famous this year for their football speed of ball movement, but right now Melbourne are matching them in their speed of ball movement.
I didn't mind how they got the ball out to Sidebottom, though. That big circumnavigation, they just didn't switch lanes. They went completely from back flank to bring it forward.
From the kick out, it was worked out of bounds and then rushed forward now by Carmichael. Langdon will pick it up and he'll be able to run in and away from Lipinski. So the crowd in full voice. His left footer, one-hander. Viney almost reeled it in. 35 metres out from the Melbourne goal at the city end. Noble with work to do. Did it well. Picked it up and flinged it to Maynard. Kicks to equal numbers on the wing, but good pushing and shoving. And he's a strong player, is Petty. And he prevailed in the marking contest. He's going to send it back. And back into the pocket, it'll go to Gawn. And Howe! If it wasn't Cox, he would have taken a mark of the night. Picked up instead, underneath by Melksham. Handball to Gawn. Flings it at goal. It hangs a long time in the air. It gave Ben Brown a belated crack at it. He pitched and went out of bounds in the pocket.
Just got to tidy up their kicking, Collingwood. They're under the heat. They've just got to pull it back and not be so precise and perfect because they've had so many of their kicks intercepted.
I thought that was a free kick against Ben Brown. He ran back with the flight and interfered with the backman who was facing the incoming ball.
Time on of the opening term. Knocked back toward the boundary. Demons deep in attack. Howe, a hand pass, nothing more. Actually, it was interesting. So Josh Dacos made contact with him first in the 2-on-1, which is a high-risk strategy.
Yep.
Because he can get nailed for that straight away. And then the second piece of it,
it was role reversal from what we normally see when the ball goes deep into a forward line.
The replay for car sales, everything you ought to know. Gawn gets his hand to it and ended up with it, but his hand pass basically fell off his hand. Josh Dacos suckers it out of play accidentally.
For Safety Steel Sheds, Angus Brayshaw, 10 possessions in the middle of the ground. 3 kicks only, but 7 handballs, 8 contested possessions.
Melbourne by 13 points, and the boundary throw-in is 40 metres out from their goal. Gawn and Cox form up. Gawn taps it down. Petrarca tried to come through with it, couldn't. Cox with the clearing kick. Awkward ball, lands on the wing. May rounds it up. Hand pass inboard for Jackson. Spreads it out to Petty. He's got Salem short, but his eyes are longer. And Gawn is presenting for him, 60 out from goal.
Yeah, Mason Cox got to work harder. You just can't let Max run up in front of you and take a chest mark.
So nobody stands the mark. Gawn takes the advantages, sets it up to the teeth of goal. Brown's his target. Moore made the spoil. Pendlebury waiting underneath. Calm hand pass to Murphy, who clears the area. Ginnivan forms up with Rivers. Ball gets to the back. Rivers momentarily had his arm over Ginnivan's shoulder in a moment in time because Ginnivan's been paid a free kick.
It's paid holding the man.
Yep. So first the arm was over the shoulder for Rivers, and then he took hold of him when the long-sleeved antagonist didn't have the ball.
I think the Sirens had it and Collingwood had won. It was a mighty roar.
Good roar. Roar of the night so far.
His first touch. Mike's actually yet to touch the footy.
Off to Maynard, and then they progress to the wing. Carmichael lying off Howe, middle of the ground. He'll mark it 25 metres in the clear. Where does he deliver? Off the left boot after he waited. Cox against 2Ds. Yes! A juggler from Mason Cox.
It's a good mark, that.
He hits the ground.
That's
Bang!
been a work rate from Big Meso. He's gone from one end of the ground. He's seen that there was an opportunity. He charged up, and he has taken one of the marks of the night.
It's always more enticing to work harder when you see a cookie at the end of it.
That's the first one that's bounced off the goggles.
Yeah, and he's taken that mark 25 metres out. If you can get onto the end of them, you know there's a real reward, don't you? You work that a little bit harder.
He clears the goggles. Goals in sight.
Well done, Coxie.
Puts it through the middle. And Collingwood answers emphatically. They've kicked their third. A Mason Cox moment. I wonder how many there'll be tonight. 23 minutes into the opening term. The Makita clock doors with Makita.
Well, Melbourne's dominated the inside 50s, but when Collingwood has gone forward, they have been good enough to get 3 on the board, which is going at a pretty high rate, 79% scoring every time they go inside the forward 50.
I'd really like to see Myercheck get on the end of a few, because what he can do, if he leads up and they honour the lead, it's probably been travelling a little bit quick, a little bit under pressure, you know, that domain between forward side of the centre and outside 50, that landing ball. If he can do that, he'll drag either of Lever or May with him, and that will leave them a little unsettled inside 50.
Got to get a centre clearance here, Collingwood. They're down 4-1.
Near on 80,000 have been well treated for their patronage early. Salem off the ground, coming out of half-back to a ball that skittled away. McCreary got hold of it, stood in the tackle. Brayshaw holds him up, ball it up.
It started off outside the square that time on the wing.
Left half forward for the Pies. Tossed up, Cameron knocked it forward, Petrarca cut it off. Elliott wrapped him up, ball it up.
So Melbourne are playing 5 forwards. Collingwood are sticking with 6. Now they match it up.
Tossed up, Cameron got his hand to it first. Elliott off the ground, kicked it straight into the face of Petrarca. It ricocheted to Neil Bullen, who hand passes it away to Hunt. Spreads it out to Brayshaw, delivers up the line, and Brown on the long lead.
That's 50.
No, it was play on, yes, so Noble saw what was going on. He dispossessed Brown, but Viney got hold of it off to Jackson. They're wide open up front, Melbourne. The kick is for French.
He's a good mark. That is a great mark. One-on-one against a fantastic defender in Darcy Moore.
There's young Murphy.
And Murphy, well, he's out-pointed him brilliantly. Well, that was a throw too, the one that came out of
Ben Brown.
Yes, it was the one-handed hand pass. There's nothing legal about that.
Gee, that's a good mark, though.
That's a ripper.
Clever. Just jumped early, took away Murphy's ability to jump.
Great mark.
Bailey Fritsch to convert his fine aerial work.
Let's pull it.
He snuck it in. He left the goal umpire veering away to his left, but just found it inside the post. 5-1-31 Melbourne. Collingwood 3 straight. Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety.
I actually think the goal umpire overplayed his hand then. I don't think
Do you reckon
it
it was?
went in by a bit more than it looked like.
No, a goal umpire prone to exaggeration?
Yeah,
You're kidding.
Well, we haven't had to go to the arc yet, so the sponsor will be ringing up Gill saying, "Come on, mate, get those goal umpires.
Get a couple away.
Call a few."
Not just mid-game. I went to the Green Bay Packers once, And the CEO came into the coach while we were having a meeting with him. He said, can you get a score review or a review? We need the sponsor up on the main board sometime this weekend. He actually asked the coach, could he challenge? Oh, challenge, that's what they called it, yeah.
31 plays 18. Resume hostilities in the middle. Tap from Cameron. Over Gawn. And it's to Goey. Lovely step from Pendlebury. Open up a passage. And a way forward for Johnson to lead out. And the young Pie comes out and takes the mark. In just his 4th game, he has offered plenty so far.
This kid is impressive. That is a very difficult mark. He generally just goes back and kicks them straight through the middle. But the artistry, the beauty of what we saw Pendlebury do through the middle of the ground was sublime.
He's got the Michael Holding run. Has he taken Ollie Henry's?
Pretty much, yeah. 24 years of age, so he's a mature age recruit. Ash Johnson from 49 metres. He got up and under it, but it remains online and delivers Collingwood's 4th goal. And this highfalutin, outstanding opening quarter to Friday night football, round 21. It's Melbourne 5-1-31. It's Collingwood 4 straight 24. And that is all on the Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety scoreboard.
Well, it certainly helps in this era when it's 6-on-6 in the forward line. If you can get a free ball out of the front of the stoppage like we just saw Pendlebury do, you have got a high percentage chance of scoring. It was a very good mark by the young fellow. We know he's a good kick, but that was Collingwood's best passage of play. And the old man, well, he made Clayton Oliver look second rate there with his defence. It was absolute ballet with the football.
Has to play a lot of centre square footy tonight, Scotty Pendlebury.
Melbourne by 7. Pause for dramatic effect before the bounce. A good straight one to deal with. Gawn tapped it out the back and Crisp won the footing, so the Pies are on the break. Hand pass to Elliott. Ducked back through a bit of traffic and then kicked straight into that traffic. Cameron got the ricochet off to side bottom, rifled it into the pocket. Petty made the spoil to keep it out of the clutches. Hibbert got caught, hand passed it away to Goey. Up in the Cox direction. Lever had position. Ball loose. McCreary gathered. They rounded him up as he threatened to find a way. He's being dragged this way and that. And at the top of the square, it'll be balled up.
Now, that is a good decision. He had no prior opportunity and he was just locked up. He couldn't get rid of that ball.
Cox and Gawn, 10 outs. Knocked away of Hibbert. Caught, holding the ball. Run down by Elliott.
That's the pressure we were talking about before the match started. It is incredible stuff by young Ginnivan. In fact, it was Elliott who did the tackle. Ginnivan came in second.
Brayshaw limping.
So Hibbert gathered. He had eyes down the field. He took a step. And Elliott pounced, knocked it out of his hands and won the call.
It's a big goal.
He's kicking for his second. He is close in to make it a 1-point ball game. Jamie Elliott duly delivers. What an opening turn this is. Collingwood 5 straight. Melbourne 5-1. It's gone 30 minutes and it's still got 3 to play on the Makita clock. Rule the outdoors with Makita.
Dermot, the quality of Collingwood's football is incredible, given where they started from at the start of this year. Most people are having them somewhere between 18th and maybe 12th if they were generous. Yeah. I mean, this is just bona fide finals type football. This is hot, it's fast, and they're putting on a treat both sides.
So if we just go purely to the stats, thanks to safety steel sheds, 15 inside 50s for Melbourne for 6 shots away at goal, 5 goals reaped. 10 to Collingwood for 5 goals straight. They're scoring a goal every second time.
Beautiful bounce to the middle. Gawn was able to rise but not have much influence on his tap. Helped out by Oliver. Handball back to Gawn. Handball forward to Crisp, but that's where it ended. Stuck in a 2-man tackle, ball up.
I think it's the first time tonight we've had a secondary bounce inside the square. It's just come out free-flowing.
Gawn taps that down, guided it nicely to Oliver. Rush kick forward, marked by Nick Dacos, who popped it out wide for Elliott, who's up the field for the moment.
Okay, so Melbourne are putting that extra man up to the ball now, so he can get into the back line and help defend. And that's leaving Dacos by himself behind the pack.
And he runs to receive from side bottom, who got it from De Goey. Now he's 75 metres from goal. Nick Dacos went tumbling as he kicked it. the boundary line was too close, and we'll have a throw in.
I think you've got to trust Oliver and Petrarca and Gawn to win the ball, and you've got to man up Dacos. They looked a little shaky when he had traffic really close around him.
On the throw, Gawn again controlled it, but side bottom was able to anticipate. He miskicked it, picked up by Gawn, scrounges a kick forward, blunted well by Brown in front, and now swooping is Viney. Hand pass to Brayshaw, who chipped it into the path of Brown. Dacos Nick tries to track it down, got help from Howe. Wins it at half back for Collingwood. Sends it to the wing via Crispy, guides it nicely to Cameron. They're building now, he hesitates, he wanted to give. He changed his mind and his line of attack. He takes it out wide for to go.
Really keen to change the angles. Poor kick in again.
It skids up to Elliott. He didn't quite handle it, but did well to get it to side bottom regardless. Trying to put a step on Langdon. Did enough to keep the hands free. Pendlebury squeezed the kick inside 50, but Salem saw it coming and it breaks down.
Haven't really changed lanes out of the back line, Melbourne, have they? Well, they haven't had to. Every time it's gone in, they've been goaled against.
Salem kicks long down the worn wing. Brown put the body into Howe, didn't move him far enough. Petrarca, though, won the crumb. Off to Gawn, blind hand pass forward, and Petrarca is there to gather. He looks deep, he kicks with penetration. It skids in the square. Fritsch has got it, trying to open the angle up. Hand pass to Pickett, and Cozzy bangs it into the second deck. Melbourne lethal going forward. Re-establish a 7-point lead. 6-1 to 5 straight, 33rd minute of the opening term.
Well, it was a brilliant handball from Bailey Fritz. He's learned his lesson.
I was thinking the same thing.
It was absolutely superb, but the structural issue that Collingwood have got to address has cost them 3 goals, and that is their defence is coming up the ground.
Yes.
And on turnover, they are charging back Melbourne, and they're allowing blokes to get in behind them. And once they're in behind them, they're too quick for them to cover it. Excuse me.
So what's actually happening with that extra defender for Collingwood? It's more often than not Nick Davis. Now, he comes up to 15, 20 metres behind the scrimmage, the pack, which means that every other player is man on man in Melbourne's forward line.
Yep.
Whereas Melbourne at the other end, the way they play, May or somebody will play as the gatekeeper way down back and stop that goal.
Gawn the tack, penalty, picked it up though, misfires the handball, made it tough for De Goey. Desperation of the D's. Viney flat out, got it to Langdon to Oliver. Hand pass inside 50, Pickett fires away. It may not quite make it. It goes right to the line. Fritz didn't mark it. Jackson desperate to handball to somebody, and that somebody was Petrarca. His kick smothered though. The stakes rise high. There's a high tackle on Maynard. In fact, it's Nick Dacos who stands up and tangles himself from the Melbourne pressure and spots Noble, who goes short to side bottom, who marks in front of Langdon. 6-1-37 to 5 goals straight, 30 to Melbourne's favour. Last 20 seconds of the opening term for Tyre Power, your trusted tyre expert.
Side bottom follows through on his signal to go wide and long down the line. Cameron brought it down. Carmichael's kick flopped onto the chest of Salem. And there'll be a 50-metre penalty.
How dumb's that? 3 seconds to go.
Oh, De Goey's put his hands to his head. Did it have anything to do with him?
Johnson never stood. He stayed in motion on the mark when his obligation was to stand still, and he was going to gift the final shot at goal of the term after the siren sounds to Christian Salem.
He's still verbally. Is it Max Gawn or the umpire?
Salem has already kicked one. That from a rundown tackle, this from a 50-metre penalty. He has the chance to open the gap to 13 points at the first change. The angle negligible to the left. The assignment 35 metres out. Salem punches it hard and misses across the face. The D's by 8. 6-2 to 5 straight. Tremendous opening quarter. Goal kickers Salem, Petrarca, Viney, Melksham, Fritsch and Pickett. On the other side, Elliott 2, De Goey, Johnson and Cox 1 each. Melbourne 6-2-38 lead Collingwood 5 straight 30 around the grounds for Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day in the NRL. Melbourne Storm 32 beat the Gold Coast Titans 14. More from the G. Jared Healy, Dermot Brereton next.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Tyre Power, your matchday favourites for tyre safety.
Imagine driving tomorrow's car today. Imagine the quality and innovation of a Hyundai Tucson SUV. Striking design inside and out. Powerful performance, advanced safety and technology. A selected range of Tucsons, including the powerful fuel-efficient diesel all-wheel drive models, are in stock now, ready to drive away. Tech drive a Tucson to see why tomorrow wants its car back. Visit Hyundai.com.au for details. Imagine that. Hyundai.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab steel kit buildings and custom designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Safety Steel. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
Hi Australia, this is Sam Kerr, Australian football team captain and Chelsea FC footballer. Aussies have voted Mate as having the most satisfied NBN customers in the country in CanStar Blue's 2021 Satisfaction Awards. Mate scored 5 stars in 5 categories, beating all its competitors. If you want award-winning Aussie service together with great value internet, then Mate has your back. Search Mate online to find out more.
Kane has a carpentry business. His challenge to renew his public liability insurance for less than his old policy. On your marks, get set.
Yeah, I just did it.
What?
Yeah, I went online to BizCover. Took 5 minutes. I compared a bunch of policies. I saved over $250.
So, no dramas?
No dramas at all.
There are literally no dramas when you go to BizCover, the business insurance specialists. Save time, money, and get instant cover at bizcover.com.au.
Looking for a flooring solution to suit your lifestyle? The Abode Hybrid Collection is both stylish and resistant to spills, stains, scuffs and water. Abode is available in a wide range of beautiful natural timber colours and styles, and its quality and ease of installation make it the perfect choice for busy households. Abode is only available from Choices Flooring, so visit your nearest Choices Flooring store or head to choicesflooring.com.au to see why Abode is the perfect choice for your lifestyle.
From first-time browsing to big-time arousing, Sexyland is all about fun. We have Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, couples' toys, fun gifts and games for adults. And our team of fun specialists are always here to help in-store and online. Sexyland 11 stores open 7 days until midnight in Melbourne and Geelong, or shop online and get 2-hour delivery.
Take me now, I'm coming. Take me now,
If you're a driver, rider, pedestrian or bystander and been injured in a road accident, you could be entitled to compensation. Arnold, Thomas and Becker can advise on all your entitlements, which could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars and is in addition to what is provided by the TAC. Talk directly to an Arnold, Thomas and Becker lawyer and start your claim today. Arnold, Thomas and Becker Lawyers, securing compensation for Victorians for over 50 years. And if there's no win, there's no fee. Call 1300 333 300.
Get the power of safer tyres before you go on holidays. A road safety message from Tyre Power.
Correct tyre inflation is the single most important part of tyre care. It helps keep them in good condition to provide optimum performance and maximum life. The best thing you can do before a long journey is check your tyre pressure and top them up with air if needed. And don't forget to check the spare tyre too.
Get the power of expert advice. Get the power of Australia's biggest independent. Visit tyrepower.com.au for your local owner operator.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now. Macca's I'm Loving It Moments. The Australiano, made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian wattle seed.
Right forward pocket, Cameron, beautiful to De Goey, snaps the goal. Artistry in the ruck.
Nelson putting down a few with him. Spinning through Petrarca.
Oh, wow.
How he kept his balance and his bearings. I'll never know. What a goal.
Jackson to the front, took it out of the ruck, fed the hand pass to Viney from the boundary, curls it through. The standard is spectacular.
Cox against 2Ds. Yes! A juggler from Mason Cox. Clears the goggles. Goals in sight.
Hello, Coxie.
Puts it through the middle.
I'm loving it. Moments for Macca's. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Macca's today. Melbourne by 8. Dermot and Jared.
This is the game that Collingwood want. Fast, speedy, can be won on turnover. I would think that Melbourne, even though they're in front, would like to shut this down and make it a bit more systematic, Jared.
Well, all I know, Dermot, if Neil Roberts was giving this a sun score as he used to do 30 years ago, it'd be 10 out of 10 for that first quarter.
Opening bounce for Tyre Power. Gawn wins it down. Got some sort of roll forward. It was brought in by Neil Bullen, who hand passes to Jordan and then to Gawn. Drops it onto the right boot. He's got in the Brown direction. Howe is close and almost landed in Brown's lap. Neil Bullen onto the crumb. De Goey onto him. It'll be a ball up.
And 10s were hard to get, I can tell you. Once again, Melbourne winning a centre clearance. The midfield was on top early in the first quarter, and then Collingwood fought back really well.
Demons to the punt road end, 40 out. Brown slapped it forward. Howe dragged down by Viney. Maynard with the clearing kick. It has to be won, though, and Rivers fights the good fight against Lipinski.
Yeah, it was a good one-on-one there by Rivers. Lipinski's got to do better than that. He had the front spot, and he allowed Rivers to just snaffle it in front of him. He could just about nail this.
He's played the 47 games. He's physically looks like he's a 6 or 7 year player, doesn't he? He's quite a powerful kid.
Trent Rivers is going to give himself every hope. Through centre half forward, Rivers veers right, gives it the lots, hangs it to the square. It won't quite score. Cox helps it on its way out of bounds for a throw-in 4 around from the behind post.
Yeah, we see so often guys go around the corner. They're trying to kick the ball hard. He just kicked it high. He just didn't get momentum through the ball, so didn't give himself much chance. Poor technique that time.
Melbourne by 8. On the move around the stoppage. Brown pushed out of it and picked up by Nick Dacos. Got it across to Maynard, who slaps it out wide towards the wing. It spins on an end and sits up for Jordan. All he could do was get a handball. Neat touch from Spargo to Lever, and they work the hands well. Sparrow back to Spargo. Little limp left foot kick is okay for Neil Bullen. Maynard closed. Viney picked it up and was trapped immediately in a tackle by Chris.
That's a great tackle. That's holding the ball. I know it would seem a little sharp, but he went to step him.
You couldn't last the whole year commentating next to Jared with that philosophy, Dermot.
Too sharp for mine. Melbourne, what they do better than anybody else right now.
Look, he's kneed him in the nurries.
Has taken Gawn down, put the knee up, and Gawn either was it where Doom said or a little higher.
Oh, I think he got him, mate, where it hurts really bad. He's up now. Oh, he's rubbing the tummy area. Oh, hang on. He got him in that tummy.
Into the pocket. Brown is there. Fritz got hands to it leading up. Picked up by Maynard. Onto the boot. Quick smart. They form up again, and Gawn just had enough air to go up and take the mark and send it back into the forward line again. Here he goes. Again, the kick tails off into the pocket. Does anyone want to mark? No one from Melbourne did. And then Murphy dropped it. Swooping was Petrarca. And he just curled it a fraction too much. And it goes through 4 behind. 6-3, 39 to 5 straight 30. And the Pies quickly bring it back in and travel that southern side.
Moore and Nick Dacos combine. Sidebottom had the sit, but he dropped the mark and left it there for Langdon as a result. He didn't waste it either. Put it onto the chest of Melksham in the right forward pocket. Everyone points to the big sticks to have a pick.
Well, it was a good contested ball, that particular one. Sidebottom had the advantage, but the one-trick pony out-bustled him.
You know what Sidebottom didn't do? I mean, he's very capable overhead. He put no knee into Langdon then. He needed to do that to shift him under the ball. He was a little bit gentle on him.
And he was shy after Mason Cox's effort.
Jake Melksham comes on the J curve. He hit that particularly high and watched it float away across the face of goal. It's a minor. They're up by 10, Melbourne, on the McDonald's scoreboard. Catch a quarter-pounder at Macca's.
The Mason Cox one will be interesting whether they look at that particular one. I think it's just a clumsy bloke who doesn't really know the game.
Yeah, that will be his plea. He flies now on the way out from the Howe kick. He did well to slow Oliver down, who handballed in desperation. Coming up to trap it is Murphy. Again onto the boot. It slews off and about into row 3.
He's just had a couple of bad moments, Murphy. It's a pretty hot game, this one. He's only an inexperienced player. He's got a big job against Brown. He's just hacked that ball and fumbled it a couple of times.
40-30 in favour of the D's as Lever considers. Goes back to that pocket. They're busy there at the moment. Cox got a hand to it. Picked up by Petrarca. Handball to Oliver. Wobbles it back to 20 metres out from goal. Oh,
Langdon.
crunching bodies and uncontested in. Langdon has taken the mark.
One thing that is happening right now, you see the players going to Max Gawn. He's having an effect here. He's marking the ball in the air. He's dragging Collingwood tall backman towards him. Hence, you've got blokes in the middle of the ground contending for aerial ball with no key Collingwood backman in the area because they're worried about Gawn down the line or Gawn pushing forward.
Great judgment from Ed Langdon. He'll have the last laugh here. 30 metres out from goal. He puts it through. And the Melbourne fans find their voice in support of Ed Langdon. And the D's get out to a 16-point lead. He hasn't been a big goal kicker this year. He's kicked 8. He kicked more last year from memory, but that's a very important one. And it's now 7-4, 46-5, straight 36 minutes into the second term.
He did kick one early that was a very early contender for goal of the year.
Yep.
Probably dropped off a bit since then, but a good start here by Melbourne. They've got a pretty handy lead now, 16 points. It's over to the Pies.
Darcy Cameron steps back into the middle. Coxie goes forward. Gawn had a bit of a say in that. He dragged a lot of traffic over into that members stand side pocket at the Punt Road end and left some favourable matchups for the D's closer into the goal face.
Gawn's running hot for Ree, more than 80 years manufacturing in Australia. 16 points is as far as it's been. Jackson with a clean take in the middle. Hand pass to Brayshaw. Melbourne forward again. Gawn to the front. Too tall for Howe.
Well, this has worked a treat. Jackson gets the head out to Brayshaw. I mean, this is all experimental stuff. Brayshaw goes into the middle. Max is now the second tall forward. They've rejigged. They haven't quite worked out what they want to do with the talls, and this experiment with Max and Jackson is proving pretty fruitful right now.
With Ben Brown on the bench, I think Max was more than the second tall there. He was the
one and only.
Yeah.
The player of the day, visit mildura.com.au. Now, Gawn has developed a kink in his kicking. Can he sort that out? He'll come through the 50. He stays on a straight line, kicks through way out to the right. He's got the yips badly with his set shot kicking. The rest of his game is in order. 17-point margin for McDonald's. Catch him at quarter pounder at Macca's.
Instant plan from Dacos. He runs, he handballs to Moore, who turns it straight back over. A tumbling Brayshaw to Langdon, who's just a bit too severe on the imaginative kick into the pocket, and it goes over Melksham's head.
Too many turnovers at about the 45 to 50 metre mark for Collingwood. They've got to work out that Melbourne are pressing up.
Dacos not prepared to risk the switch. Keeps it along that southern wing line. Cox came late, didn't actually fly in the end because Cameron was front and centre for the Pies. No mark. He's laid out now, Cameron. Is the umpire? No, the umpire doesn't judge that he dragged it in. It's a ball up.
Which doesn't mean you have to go long, but you've got to switch. And I think coming in they would have said, let's switch more. Let's get Melbourne moving.
He's by 17. Petrarca came through the contest, got it away from Degoe. He got a hand pass which was picked up by Oliver. Close to the line. He just managed to manufacture something back to Brayshaw. Hooks the kick in and beautifully judged. Matched by courage as Maynard took the mark, and he's going to send it back along that wing again, where they've got an outnumber against them, the Pies, and it's an easy mark to Langdon.
He shovels the hand pass out the back to Salem and around to Petty and back to Salem. Guides the kick to Petrarca, approaching half forward. Without hesitation, he rifles the kick for Sparrow.
Who kicked that ball out for Collingwood?
Maynard.
It's a seriously dumb kick. They were outnumbered. There was a +2 in Melbourne's favour down the line, and Maynard kicked it to them.
Inside 50s in this term, 10-0.
Wow. Thanks to Safety Steel Sheds, Jared.
Thank you, Safety.
17 points and growing. The ball is in the hands of Tom Sparrow. Through centre half forward at the Punt Road end. Sparrow launches it on a true path to goal. And Melbourne get full toll. 23-point leaders. McDonald's scoreboard catch a quarter pounder at Macca's.
Well, he's one of the wave of young players that got a taste last year and the year before, like Rivers, Sparrow, Jordan,
So the Melbourne crowd booing Cox, who quite liked it, and he just called for a bit more as he was going
Good
on.
on you, Coxie. That's that American theatre that he loves going with. But that goal, well done by Melbourne. They're classy enough to finish that off. But that's all on Maynard.
Yeah, it was.
It's the worst place he could have kicked it. He actually dropped it on the bin lid of the worst place that he could have kicked it to.
And great transition back in, just 2 30-metre bullets. And then a guy who does kick through the ball, that is brilliant technique. Gets his 45, gets his 55.
Sparrow.
Pies need to respond quickly. Jackson won the tap. Oliver couldn't quite prevail. Picking it up quickly was Josh Dacos. Instantly onto the boot to Guinea, but he took a good mark. Coming out. Juggled it, but had it under control against Lever. A long way out from goal. He's popped it for the leaders to come out. It doesn't get to Johnson on the fallers. And then Jordan was tackled and pinned for holding the ball by Elliott. It was a bit of a chaos ball. Jordan was the only one who actually played the footy, but he ran headlong into trouble and into Jamie Elliott.
Yeah, we just have a look at the car sales. Everything you auto know, replay there. And, yeah, he kind of half got a hit on it.
That's not a free kick.
It was the incorrect part of the fist, but he did make contact with the ball and a clenched fist.
But no prior, ball knocked out, play on anyway.
A lot of inconsistencies around all of that. Elliott for his third. He should convert. Collingwood need it. And it only just scrapes in, but it's there. 3 for Jamie Elliott. And he will be a pivotal figure if Collingwood are to win this game tonight. He already is. 8-5-53 to 6 straight 36.
I mean, that was a densely populated forward line when Ginnivan kicked it in there.
It wasn't a great kick, but they got away with it.
They just look dangerous because of the pressure that they can put on some of those Melbourne defenders.
Well, that's that point at the start of the game. They've only taken 4.5% of their one-on-one contests. Ball hits the deck.
Collingwood.
They don't have to rely on marking. I mean, we've seen Mason Cox take one. But pressure at the ground level is what it's all about.
I don't think Christian Salem wants to look at that again on the replay. He probably didn't give it his best effort overhead, moving backwards with the ball.
12 minutes gone on the Makita clock. Ruled the outdoors with Makita. Melbourne by 17. Cameron wins the tap, but Jackson does the roving. Viney knocks it backward to Salem. Skipped it across the turf to Oliver. Forward to the play to Jackson, then to Salem. And now on to Rivers, who runs to half forward. Kicks it into the pocket. Brown set himself hand to it. Melksham tried to rove more. Pinched it away though. Hand pass to Lipinski. Kicks the Pies out of half back. Elliott lost front position to Salem. Myercheck, a rare touch inboard. Carmichael was dragged off it by Salem. Both fans screaming. Melbourne wanted holding the ball. Collingwood wanted holding the man. Ball buried underneath. It'll be balled up.
You've got to have the ball before it's holding the ball.
Had it in his hands for a moment. Tackle dropped it. I suppose Melbourne fans would argue that's what happened moments ago at the other end when Jordan got nailed by Elliott. Cameron took it out of the ruck, dragged the ground by Jackson.
So again, Dacos 25 metres off the ball to the defensive side. That is Nick Dacos is the loose man in defence. The D's have an extra one at the footy.
Tossed up, Jackson took it out of the ruck, ran into Lipinski. Ball came the way of Brayshaw, then socked off the turf by Carmichael, who got all over the top of Oliver and gave away the free kick. Melbourne claimed the advantage up through Neil Bullen and now to Brown. He's 60 out from goal. He's pulled the kick horrible.
Well, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a terrible error. Straight to Howe.
He issues his apologies as Howe swings it back through the defensive goal square at the punt road end of the MCG where Murphy was located, and now Noble marks outward bound the Pies. Quaynor takes it in front of the Shane Warne sign and the Shane Warne stand. He pauses, waits a little longer, doesn't really like what's on the horizon. Just chipped the kick a little bit back for Johnson to get a good fly out, and he juggled the mark.
So Melbourne's +1 is Stephen May at this point in time, and he's the furthest player from the ball.
Running back with the fly, it was Hoskin Elliott. It just gets out of his hands. He paddles to his own advantage. Did it pretty well. Lever, though, went the journey with him. Socket forward, Hoskin Elliott, and he kept on coming. Tumbled into it, Carmichael. Tapped down Lipinski. Working his way through. Brody Myercheck, as he so often does, finds his way around goal and delivers an important blow for the Pies. And just when it looked like Melbourne had wrestled full control, Collingwood, who can't miss tonight, are able to get back a couple in a row, and it's back to a much more manageable 11 points. 8-5-53 to 7 straight 42. And Myercheck, who's done almost nothing tonight, now has a goal. As
the ball was moving towards Collingwood's forward line, May was the deepest defender. He also got some coverage from Jackson. He handed over Myercheck to Jackson. He came forward at the footy, May, got a bit of a spoil on it, but Collingwood were able to pressure that ball, keep it moving forward, and Jackson just didn't have that dexterity, that agility to follow Myercheck around back into play. He backdoors him here on the replay. Jackson comes up to him, can't lay it on him.
That was a good move.
Replay for car sales, everything you auto know. Melbourne by 11. Gawn and Cox crash into each other. Chris with a loose hand pass in the middle, cut off by Brayshaw. He tumbled up into the path of Viney, who pulled the kick. It lands short of Gawn, who'd gone to centre half forward. The ricochet came through. Petrarca, who works it away to Jordan, missed the target with his hand pass, but Lever's there to tidy up. Confronted by Ginnivan, gives it to Petrarca, brought down by Ginnivan. Magpies overwhelm the D's. Carmichael released Josh Dacos, poor hand pass to the side. Myercheck taken to ground by Jordan. Had to release it. May coming through. Josh Dacos brings him down. Salem over his shoulder. Jordan shirked the tackle. Gives it off to Viney and back to Jordan. Found the open player in Jackson.
See, that was 52. He went straight through the line.
Jackson veers out to the right. Lands it at full forward. Melksham against a couple more. Well positioned. Good judge in the air.
53 plays 42. Aggressive line from Moore. Arsenal off to go. He ducked under it. Now they're out the back. He bounces his way through the middle. Saw out of the corner of his eye. Hoskin Elliott takes the mark at half forward. Unguarded. 2 bounces. 30 out. He passes rather than shoots. And it all came to ground in the goal square when Johnson couldn't mark. Great defence by the D's.
Now you had Jordan to go. You really worked hard to get there for a handball receive as well after giving it to him. Butchered that.
Penny spoiled it successfully. The Pies first behind. 7-1-43, 10 points adrift, 8-5-53.
If you're not going to take the shot, you have to give it to the
Had to give it to
Otherwise,
the
kick it with conviction.
Or just, get the lungs busted and keep running.
Salem kicks it in long. Spoils made. Underneath Sparrow. Took the tackles. Ball it up.
No, you're going to knock off Melbourne. You've got to take every opportunity. And that was just a bad one from Hoskin Elliott.
Front edge of the centre square. Collingwood in attack. Cox swiped it forward, but Salem was well set as the sweeper at the back. He sends the Demons to the members' wing. Neil Bullen takes the mark. Does a bit of singling, then a bit of wandering. Kicks it up in the Melksham direction. They close from various angles. Howe underneath, brought down by Melksham. 45 out from Melbourne's goal. Ball it up.
Now Brayshaw's going to have 40 tonight. 40 plus, I reckon.
You're right.
He is. He started hot, and he's a bit like Ream. He's staying hotter.
Steady, hot and strong. Jackson underneath. Cox off the grounds. Brayshaw another. Hand pass to Petrarca. Got it onto the boot. Fashioned out a kick. Murphy left it there. More danger. Pick it off the ground. Crisp does the body work. Who can get back onto the footy? Crisp did okay. He got there and shoveled it toward the boundary.
Nathan Murphy is playing nervous tonight. I mean, that was just a chest mark gone to ground. He's just they're inside his head, the nerves.
Throw in is a little shallow. Cox came bounding through, got the tap down. It eludes Jordan and goes back over and out. 40 metres around from goal now. 7-1-43 Collingwood. Melbourne 8-5-53 attacking. McDonald's catch a quarter pounder at Macca's scoreboard.
Well, we've got 2 spare here, Melbourne, guarding the defence.
Cox got the tap clearly, but it went straight to Jordan. He flings the handball straight back over the line and out of bounds. I think he was trying to find Pickett.
You reckon? I reckon he's happy for another stoppage here. Disguised it well enough. So what's happening is Melbourne have the 2 extras for the outward bound ball if Collingwood hack kick forward 40 metres, and Collingwood have got an extra. Murphy dropping off the back of the pack.
Cox double-handed, knocks it out, but straight to Pickett, who gave it to Petrarca, who sends them to the goal square. Ben Brown, it's too strong for him to mark. And at the back, Jeremy Howe, superior judgment prevails for the Pies, and quickly eyes off Noble in the back pocket. It's a 10-point lead. The Pies behind, but they have possession.
It's 50, surely. Sidebottom took the mark, and then Langdon took 3 more steps tackling him.
And grappled him, agreed.
Come on, you just got to blow the whistle and march them down the field in those circumstances.
And
as
that
a result,
stops
it does. It means the Collingwood have to play the slow ball across the face of goal through Murphy out to Howe. He dropped the mark, but he's got plenty of space to stand in and wait for Quaynor to arrive. And he takes the mark. Melbourne have moved the grid across the fields.
And that means Gawn is down the line. So he's at this. Sort of hasn't touched it in the last 4 or 5 minutes, but he's had a bit of a say here.
Quaynor wrong foots Petrarca, takes off and kicks long, but May is there.
Badly beaten here.
That's tactical, that.
Yeah, badly beaten. No, just putting it into Melbourne's the trap they've set.
May to the near side for Jordan. Hand pass to Salem, up to Gawn and on to Brayshaw. Josh Dacos chases him, but the kick's a good one. Out into the pocket where Brown was camped and waiting.
Well, that's tactical, Dermot, and it's a goal that's going to come from tactics. They didn't think it through.
Brown's coming around the corner without hesitation. He roasts it. Superb kick. High and handsome in the curl. And Ben Brown with a vengeance. 16-point leaders, Melbourne. Time on of the second term, 9:5:59. Collingwood 7:1:43 for McDonald's. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Macca's today.
So when we say that's tactical for the Collingwood supporters, I guarantee you on the whiteboard in the room down there for Collingwood's inner sanctum, they will have in ink on that board the one thing Melbourne want. They want the ball to be kicked down the line to one of 3 men, and that is Gawn, May or Lever. Collingwood obliged them after a slow play, looked down and then just said, right, let's kick it down the line. Yep. Stephen May intercepts and they just picked their way through Collingwood thereafter. A lovely finish too, I might add, by Ben Brown. But they gave Melbourne what Melbourne want when they don't have the footy. They gave it exactly what Melbourne want.
Geez, it was a big bomb, wasn't it?
What a kick, so high and powerful. Hit it beautifully. Prevailing out of the middle this time is Gawn. He was able to shrug off Cameron, kick it the centre half forward, knock back penalty his way. Just eased the kick a little bit to try and give Gideon a run at it. It eluded him, but went to Josh Dacos. Rushes onto the boot. Elliott flies at the front of the pack, and he's not got a free. Play on though. The handball goes forward to Myercheck. Gawn came in, back to Elliott. Crushed to a joint tackle, and then socket through for a behind.
It's just great defence. I mean, Collingwood looked like they were going to have a goal there, and then Ed Langdon just crash-packed it. It's brilliant play from Ed.
15-point margin. Kick came the way of Salem. Now to Petrarca, 50 out from defensive goal. Drops it onto the right boot, takes the territory down the line. Brown presents, had separation on Howe and took the mark.
Hard to believe this bloke was given away by the Kangaroos.
And Brown sets it up to half forward. Viney and Fritsch with the flyers. Quaynor repelled and Nick Dacos plays Crummer. Hand pass to De Goey. Out the far side for Lipinski. So they've switched the angles. They need some running support. Side bottom is that. Nick Dacos is working overtime to try to get into the play, and Myercheck on the long lead. Takes the mark, taken to ground by Petty.
Gawn, Lever and May. 45, 50 and 55 metres down the line away from this kick. They've got to change the angle going in here.
So backwards and sideways to Maynard. He's going to stay out the far side as he wanders away and kicks in the Johnson direction. He took the early fly. Ben Brown working in defence. Now hand pass. Well, Neil Bullen got caught with the ball by Lipinski, and so did Hunt. Neither was whistled holding the ball. Dear me.
Yeah, Neil Bullen held the ball up to keep his arm free to handball. That's considered prior. They nabbed him.
The daily double, and neither got paid out on. Oliver brings it out of defence. Off to Petrarca. High on the way out. Viney kept it away from Howe. Nick Dacos underneath. He probably threw it. Yeah. It got dragged off. And then a 50.
This is going to turn them on.
They're going to feel crook about this.
Oh, somebody will get throttled in the crowd soon.
Stiffed at one end.
Oh, shot
and then
coming
Melbourne
from the
get
other.
all the benefits at the other. And Fritsch is signalling his intention to take the shots.
Oh, that's hot. That's real hot. You don't know whose free kick that is in that heat.
It's not typically how it's adjudicated.
No, similar to the Collingwood one that wasn't paid.
Bailey Fritsch from 50 metres out made great contacts. Salt into the wound. And a margin that stands at 21 points as a result. And while Magpie fans, I think, always believe that they're getting battered by the men in charge, the whistleblowers have done them in on this occasion.
Yeah, it's been interesting. A couple of those holding the balls have been paid and a couple haven't been paid, but ultimately it gets down to Fritsch, and he is just a magnificent shot at goal, Fritsch, and he's done it again and still doing it unruffled. Brayshaw's dropped off. He hasn't had a possession in the last minute. He's up to he's up to 19. But it's fine lines, Dermot, between, that's a 2-goal turnaround.
Centre bounce, 10-5, 65 to 7-2, 44. Gone the tap, and Melbourne will get first look. Viney was able to avoid the to-go-y tackle. Sparrow lost his balance, then regained it. Back to Viney, kicks towards Gawn. Scott forward again, he takes the mark, 55 out. Jackson in the goal square, Brown's in the pocket. Kicks just popped up. Here's Brown and Pickett both flying. Oliver arrived at the right time, ran straight into heavy traffic. Hand pass to Fritsch, he had Jordan on hand. Left foot kick was out of bounds on the foot.
Well, out of jail there, Cameron, because Max charged forward. He didn't. He was hands on the hips trying to recover.
I thought that was Max's pet position to shoot at goal. He'd have kicked from 51-52 on the bend.
Murphy bangs away and Gawn again in a similar position. About 70 out though, so he centres it, squares it well enough, and it's marked by Rivers. Centre half forward for Melbourne. Goes slightly off the line for Brown to come at, but it was well read on the way in by Moore, who takes the defensive mark. 10-5, 65 to 7-2, 44. D's running hot for Ream, over 80 years manufacturing in Australia.
Well, looking at this, I know both Cox and Cameron are fighting manfully, but there's a spot for Grundy.
Moore across the face of goal to Murphy. Ginnivan was pushed forward in the pack. No free kick. Hoskin Elliott tumbles it forward to the play. It should work. Elliott is onto it. There's not much ahead, so he holds up and then kicks it out on the full as he was trying to sag the pass to Myercheck.
Right decision, just not the right execution. Had he gone long, Hibbert had peeled off. They had numbers at the ball, so Hibbert just ran goal side and he'd have mopped up any long kick going inside 50. They've lost the game they want to play here, the Magpies. They've been forced into stodgy football coming out of defence.
Salem out of half-back at the restart. Brown presents. He couldn't quite hang on to the mark. Gawn is fighting the fight underneath. Crisp gathers, runs into the tackle of Viney, released it to Hoskin Elliott. Dropped the kick down the line. It was relatively well played by Myercheck to slap it to the boundary and reset at a stoppage near right half forward.
Simon Goodwin coaching from ground level tonight, issuing the instructions not far away from where this footy is thrown in. At right half forward for Collingwood, it cleared both ruckmen, poked back to the wing where Quaynar is there. He's met heavily by Oliver. Both players show their desperation and determination. Hatched out the back, picked up Lipinski. Handball to Maynard, in position to launch. Elliott is coming. He's judged his leap well, but Hibbert matched him at ground level. Myercheck couldn't force the handball. Hunt tackled him and is rewarded. Duly noted by the Collingwood fans.
They're going to hate it, the Collingwood fans, but I thought that was an arm chop on Jamie Elliott in the mark then.
Jamie thought that as well.
39 to 16 inside 50s. Collingwood just have to get more football. Their midfield's being belted right now.
Spargo to Sparrow to Salem to Jordan. They've made it to the members' wing or just behind. They lead 65 to 44, the D's. 28 minutes into the second term for Makita Rulli Outdoors. James Jordan to half forward. Jackson!
On Max.
From the side.
I forgot about him, Hutto. All the others have been marking it. I forgot he was out there. Gee, they've got some weaponry, haven't they?
He goes back and is ready to send it back into the pocket. Brown out. Oh, he tried the massive high jump. No free kick. Picked up by Fritsch. He would have backed him 8 out of 10 from there. He rushed it a little and missed the lot, or missed the goals. And it's through for a behind. 10-6, 66 plays 7-2, 44. McDonald's catch a quarter pounder at Macca's.
Moore kicks it in straight and long to Pendlebury. He was going by. Pendlebury tells him to get a bit further away. Nobody stood the mark, so Pendlebury goes ambling off out the far wing now for Sidebottom. He's got Degoe inboard and Noble on the wraparound. Gives it to Noble. Kicks to full forwards. Standing there and dropping the mark. Left it there for Johnson, who snapped the goal. Hibbert dropped it straight into his hands, and Johnson had the presence of mind to take what was on offer. He kicks his second, and the Pies get a critical goal on the way to half-time. They're down by 16 points.
Good snap. What this one, we're looking at on the replay here. It's one of the rarities of Scotty Pendlebury. He had a man, McCreery, out on the outside, running towards goal. That was one of the rarities of football. Scott Pendlebury, it worked out in the goal. He missed the right kick. The correct kick was to go to McCreery. He just didn't see him. I've never seen Scotty Pendlebury miss such a blatantly obvious pass. But all's end well that ends well, and they've laboured their way to another goal. They just got to hang in here, the Magpies. Just 38 seconds to negotiate. Just make sure Max and Clary don't get it forward here.
Experts for sure. Uniform expert. It is edged forward by the D's to centre half forward. Spargo held it on. Petrarca. He passes rather than shoots. And it slides. Oh, it's just kept in marginally by Fritz. Jackson gets a shot at it. Top of the square. Pickett will light. Oh, he tried to light up the MCG and he just slightly missed time. How rude of Noble to move and not just be a launch pad for him.
Tell you what, if that had been mark of the year, it was not that far away from a genuine launch. Then this game would have had everything so far.
It's had plenty. Melbourne lead by 16. And there's 16 precious seconds remaining in the half. Cameron, can they nullify here the Pies? Chris runs into a joint tackle. No whistle. Petrarca got it from Oliver, ripped it through and got it to the boot. And
sloppy stuff there from Collingwood. And the whole... Everybody knows that the game's only got a few seconds, and they've let Oliver just burst out of a stoppage and should have kicked a goal.
So the siren sounds. An exhilarating half of football at the MCG on the McDonald's scoreboard. Catch a quarter-pounder range at Macca's today. And it's a 16-point lead enjoyed by the D's. Angus Brayshaw, 19 disposals. Max Gawn, 18 disposals in the first half. Salem, 17. Petrarca, 16. Jordan, 15. Viney, 15. All before you mention a Collingwood player, Jared. Give us 30 seconds.
Yeah, their midfield's absolutely dominating. Collingwood are doing well so far to stay in touch, but it's all about accuracy and efficiency inside their forward line. Melbourne could well be another 3 goals in front, but they are playing hot footy, Melbourne, and it's testament. I know Collingwood are behind, but it is testament to just how well they can play football that they're hanging in here, because Melbourne are playing at a very high level. A few things are different. Brayshaw's second game now in the midfield. He's probably only, if he's not best on ground, he's second best on ground behind Max Gawn, who's dominating. The Rucks need to tighten up on Max. He's playing a midfield role, and you've got Jackson rolling around as well. It's an exciting game of footy, but Collingwood are going to have to find a little bit different method going forward if they're going to be back in this match.
The D's kicked 4-5 in that quarter to Collingwood's 3 goals to. And at halftime, they have a lead, as we said, by 17 points. 3 goals to Jamie Elliott and 2 goals to Ash Johnson for the Pies. And the only multiple goal kicker for the Demons is Bailey Fritsch with 2 goals, 1. We will take a break on AFL Nation. It's Melbourne, 10-7-67, leading Collingwood, 8-2-50 on Friday Night Football.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for McDonald's. Warm up with an apple pie at Macca's.
Jetfire heaters from the makers of trusted Australian brand Spitwater are highly efficient, robust and very portable. Industrial, LPG and diesel-fired space heaters. Jetfire heaters come with a fully automatic safe ignition, providing instant reliable heat and are Australian Gas Association approved to the latest safety standards. With distribution, sales and service centres located in Brisbane, Sydney, Albury, Melbourne, Adelaide and Perth, and authorised dealers in all major centres throughout Australia. Call 1-800-SPITWATER now or visit spitwater.com.au today.
Want an
an internet provider with the most satisfied customers? Mate has been rated the best for overall NBN satisfaction by CanStar Blue's annual providers review. In fact, Mate are the only telco to score 5 stars in all areas. That's customer service, value for money, ease of setup, bill and cost clarity, as well as speed and reliability. So, join the most satisfied NBN customers. Choose a provider you can trust, like a Mate. Mate. Visit letsbemates.com.au.
Safety skill. Time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab, steel kit buildings and custom designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Safety Steel. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety skill. Time to get real.
Get the power of safer tyres before you go on holidays. A road safety message from Tyre Power.
Having out-of-balance tyres causes uneven tread wear and an uncomfortable ride. You'll also cop excess wear on your suspension and other parts of your vehicle. If you experience severe vibration while driving, especially highway speeds, get your tyres dynamically balanced at your local Tyre Power store straight away.
Get the power of expert advice. Get the power of Australia's biggest independent. Tyre Power.
Get the power.
If you've come home to find your property has been damaged, call 131 444.
If you've had something stolen from your car, call 131 444.
If you've lost something or found something valuable, call 131 444.
If you want to register a party or let us know you're going away on holiday, call 131 444.
So save 131 444 to your phone for when you need the police but not the sirens. For more information and for online reporting, visit police.vic.gov.au.
Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
Bring some excitement to game day with Big Screen Video, Australia's digital display experts. We're giving 10 lucky sports clubs the chance to win a $10,000 grant towards their own LED scoreboard. Register now at iCanWin.com.au/BSV. T&Cs apply. See website for details.
Want to win free barista-made coffee for an entire year? That's a lot of lattes. Just buy a McCafe coffee on the My Maccas app for your chance to win. There are 25 winners every day. But hurry, limited time only. Ends 30th of the 8th, 22. Visit mcdonalds.com.au/coffeecom for full terms.
Here's another Melbourne Storm player profile. Storm captain Jesse Bromwich is closing in on 300 NRL games, a huge milestone for one of the most consistent forwards in the competition. Without an NRL contract when he first moved to Melbourne, Jesse debuted for Storm against the Sharks in 2010 and has amassed an impressive career as one of the NRL's elite middle forwards. Born in Auckland, New Zealand, Jesse played his junior footy with the Manurewa Marlins and is very proud to have played several seasons alongside his younger brother Kenny in Melbourne's purple jersey. The brothers are also part of the New Zealand Test team, with Jesse, the current Kiwis captain, looking forward to doing the job at the end of season World Cup. Bromwich has also been a part of the Storm Premiership winning sides in 2012, 17 and 20, plus 2 World Cup Challenge wins, as well as earning the Dally M Prop of the Year award in 2016. He's now the father of 4 children after the birth of his first daughter in February. Ride the Storm in 2022. Head to melbournestorm.com.au to become a member or buy tickets for our next home game.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now. Macca's I'm Loving It Moments. The Australiano, made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian wattle seed.
Oliver wobbles it back to 20 metres out from goal. Oh, crunching bodies and uncontested end. Langdon has taken the mark. He'll have the last laugh here, 30 metres out from goal. He puts it through. Tap down Lipinski, working his way through. Brody Marchek, as he so often does, finds his way around goal.
The kick's a good one. Out into the pocket where Brown was camped and waiting. Brown's coming around the corner without hesitation. He roosts it. Superb kick. High and handsome in the curl.
Oh, what a half of football for your entertainment on a Friday night. And it's Melbourne 10-7-67, leading Collingwood 8-2-50. Their accuracy helping to keep them in the game. Some of the I'm loving it moments for Macca's. Catch a quarter pounder range at Macca's today. We're in the Coates Hire commentary box. Jared Healy and Anthony Hudson with you at the half. Coates, we're more than high. We're equipped for for anything.
Just a few things, Hutto, before you go into the categories. Plus 24 for contested.
Yeah, we'll get to those, Jared, because it's all part of the halftime floor show for Choices Flooring, hybrid flooring from Choices Flooring.
The Choices Flooring Halftime Floor Show. Check out Choices Flooring's Room View program.
And Jared's got some numbers for our stats wrap for safety steel sheds designed to save, built to last.
Sorry, I'm out of practice. I'm usually around the other end doing a video to the scoreboard. Plus 24 contested to Melbourne. Plus 17 clearances.
Wow.
They've had 16 forward half intercepts. And if you wanted to look at what the other real weakness that has been exploited by Melbourne, the kicks into the forward line of Collingwood have been mopped up way too often by the Melbourne defence. So it's a testament really to Collingwood's ability to hang in there, but it's also probably a testament to Melbourne's inaccuracy. 17 scoring shots to 10. Scoreboard flatters them a bit, but I've got to say, Hutto, overall, Melbourne are playing as well as I know they can play. Collingwood are playing pretty good football under this heat. It's going to hold them in good stead as they come into the finals.
Give us an Amy Clanger. Who covers Clangers? Amy does.
There was a couple of clangers. I reckon Big Maxi probably got the clanger early with his miss from about 20 metres out. He's become a bit of a sharpshooter, Max, and we're a bit surprised.
And then he followed up with another from a bit further out. Maybe he's lost all his confidence in front of goal. That's Amy.
He only does it in finals.
Yeah, indeed he does. Player of the day so far for Whirlpool, designed for environment. He'd be in the mix, Max, wouldn't he?
Max is either 1 or 2. Brayshaw's 1 or 2. They've had a lot of good players through the middle of the ground, lots of big possession winners. Viney's doing well. Oliver and Petrarca, not so much Petrarca, but certainly Oliver's getting plenty of the football. I think Langdon's having a good game, good battle between him and Sidebottom. But if I had to pick right now, I'd go Max.
Has it changed your mind on Brayshaw as to whether he should be in the middle or off half-back?
Well, it probably has, because I like Petrarca going into the forward line. So if Hunt can hold that back down, then I like the fact that they're experimenting.
Australia-made smart play. It's important to buy Australian. There's a couple of possibilities there. Anything come to mind? There was the Cameron beautiful ruck work at the start to go.
Yeah, that was beautiful, the first centre bounce. I like Big Brown's kick to the centre, which ended up with Ed Langdon taking a mark and kicking a goal. Good centering kick.
Yeah, and Ed, of course, who made all those comments before the match, has had a pretty good duel out there with Sidebottom, but he's had some influential touches.
He has, and he's also had an influential smother, if you remember that really suicidal smother across the across the legs when I'm not sure who was about to kick a goal for Collingwood, but he certainly saved it.
Sport Aussie-made products. That's important to buy Australian now. Injury update for victorsports.com.au, other than Maxi copping one in the guts.
Yeah, I think Brayshaw had a bit of a corky at quarter time. He's got a very sore leg. Too many kicks.
Because the Cox knee to Gawn's midriff was interesting, wasn't it?
It was clumsy. I don't think he meant it, but like we see all these ruckmen now, they don't know what to do with the centre bounce. They're just putting their knee up instinctively, and I think that half the problem was Max didn't put his knee up. Max just went in like a basketball jump.
D's lead by 17. We're in the Coates commentary box at halftime. We're more than higher. We're equipped for anything. That's Coates. Unmissable moments for Drinkwise. Choose to Drinkwise.
Well, I reckon there's been a few, but very early in the piece there was a complete gang tackle on Langdon. One trick pony Langdon, when 5 Collingwood players all jumped on him. That really set the tone, I think.
The mark to Jackson, Ben Brown's snap as well.
Ben Brown's snap was as good a kick from that corner as we've seen around the corner. That was an absolute ball burster.
It was. Thanks, Smokey. MEGT Rookie of the Day.
It's got to go to the young bloke from Collingwood who's kicked a couple of goals.
Ash Johnson.
He's been impressive now a few times. Yep. He's come on in leaps and bounds.
He has. MEGT, your local apprenticeship experts. Call 13MEGT today. Well, so that is just about it for our halftime floor show. Thanks to Choices Flooring, Abode Hybrid Collection, the water-resistant flooring choice. Just give us 35 seconds on what you're expecting from here, Jared.
Well, I'm hoping that Collingwood come out and use the ball a little bit more differently. They were struggled under the pressure. They've been sucked in like Fremantle were last week to go down the line. They just haven't been able to do it because their first possession hasn't been brave enough. They've got to go out quickly from defensive 50, get the ball going early in the piece. And I think their midfield's got a lift. I know there's a lot of guys not getting enough of the football, and Melbourne are getting so much of the ball. But if you look at blokes who are having an impact without touching the ball, Sparrow's had 5, but Melbourne's pressure in the forward line is immense. Pickett's only had 5 touches and Spargo's only had 4 touches. And Melksham's only had 5. So there's 4 blokes down there with less than 20 possessions, and yet the amount of pressure they're putting on Collingwood is extreme.
All right, we'll take a break. Back with the third quarter shortly. It's Melbourne 10-7-67 leading Collingwood 8-2-50 on AFL Nation.
A sports news update for Fuchs Lubricants, proudly Australian-made lubricants.
Former AFL player Josh Jenkins has shared his experiences on the infamous Adelaide pre-season camp.
I stated more than once I wanted none of my upbringing to be used or even spoken of during or after the camp. Something which was promised to me, but in my view, a promise which was broken.
Speaking on SEN radio there, he says players were sworn to secrecy about their experiences, even from each other.
Myself and a coach stood up after one meeting and demanded we tell each other what had happened. But the CEO and/or football manager, I can't exactly recall who, stood up and said we were unable to because the club had signed confidentiality agreements on everyone's behalf.
To the Commonwealth Games, Australia will play England in the netball semi-finals after losing to Jamaica in a thrilling final pool game last night. That's the latest in sport. I'm April Austin. Fuchs Lubricants, Australian made with German technology that pays back.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
While truckies support Australia, Shell has been supporting truckies since 1901, making road transport easier, safer and more efficient. And for Shell card holders, we're making it more economical as well. Talk to us today about a fuel discount for your business and save every time you refuel. It doesn't matter if you run one truck or a whole fleet. All you need is a valid ABN to apply for your Shell card now at shell.com.au/truck network.
Bendix EV hybrid brake pads are designed to meet the changing needs of EV braking systems, ensuring a low environmental impact whilst delivering low dust and quieter operation. Cleaner wheels, longer brake disc life, and Bendix green titanium stripe technology for instant friction without the need for bedding in. Ask for Bendix EV hybrid brake pads at your next service. Bendix. Put your foot down with confidence.
Safety steal. Time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab steel kit buildings and custom designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Safety Steel. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety Steel. Time to get real.
Sustained performance in footy is more than just one great game. It's about playing consistently, game after game, season after season. Host Plus delivers strong performance over the long term, with top returns over 20 years. A top-performing super fund over the long term, that's a plus.
Super Ratings SR50 Balanced Index, December 2021. General advice only. Consider the relevant Host Plus PDS at TMD at hostplus.com.au before deciding if Host Plus is appropriate for you. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance.
Search, compare Host Plus today.
Get the biggest brands at the lowest prices. Head to Chemist Warehouse today and save on big brand vitamins like Naturopathica Vegan Vitamin D60 capsules $10.24. New Blackmore's Daily Immune Action 60 tablets $15.49. Nature's Way High Strength Magnesium 300 tablets $22.99. And Wagner Glucosamine and Chondroitin Plus 200 capsules $23.99. For great savings every day, come home to Chemist Warehouse.
Kane has a carpentry business. His challenge to renew his public liability insurance for less than his old policy. On your marks, get set.
Yeah, I just did it.
What?
Yeah, I went online to BizCover. Took 5 minutes. I compared a bunch of policies. I saved over $250.
So, no dramas?
No dramas at all.
There are literally no dramas when you go to BizCover, the business insurance specialists. Save time, money, and get instant cover at bizcover.com.au.
From first-time browsing to big-time arousing, Sexyland is all about fun. We have Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, couples' toys, fun gifts and games for adults. And our team of fun specialists are always here to help in-store and online. Sexyland 11 stores open 7 days until midnight in Melbourne Brisbane and Geelong, or shop online and get 2-hour delivery.
Take me now, I'm coming. Take me now, Sexyland.
Hard yakka. Toughness is in our DNA, and we don't take shortcuts. Our legendary status is ingrained in our heritage. Modern, durable, quality. We don't play by the rules, we write them. That's why we've designed the ultimate men's and women's gear and boots for your no-nonsense lifestyle. Designed to work hard on the job or off, whether you're chilling on the weekend or heading out to explore the great outdoors. So get the gear that makes you feel like a legend. Head to your nearest stockist or hardyakka.com.au.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
It's Melbourne by 17 points at half-time. The D's going through their warm-ups again for the second half. Collingwood just back out onto the MCG. 10-7-67 Melbourne to Collingwood 8-50. Dermot Burton, what are your overall thoughts?
Collingwood are not without a chance. It is attainable to come back into this game. Melbourne, you think if they keep the hammer down, the foot down, play the way they want to, they can at the very least hold this lead. But if they do a couple of little things wrong and Collingwood clean up some of their decision making, one thing is when Melbourne don't have the ball, the one thing Melbourne say is, all right, you've got it. What we want you to do is kick the ball with hang time on it, somewhere in the vicinity of Max Gawn, Stephen May and Jake Lever, and Collingwood are obliging them. So they've got to be a little bit smarter. Yes, they can be a bit braver with their kicking, but I'd even be looking at if you've got the opportunity, even just, when we say, oh, that's barely 15, go take a few of them. Just, even if it's sideways, just try and break up the Melbourne fix down the line of Gawn, May and Lever. Try and shift them around a little bit, because at the moment, that style of game has been played on Melbourne's terms. The other thing is, with Taylor Adams out, what are they, Jared? Minus 17 for...
17 for clearances.
Clearances, that hurts.
24 for contested. But I think the biggest problem they got is the forward half intercepts that Melbourne have been able to put on their defence. 16 times... Collingwood have tried to get it out of their back 50 or their defensive half, and it's been intercepted, and it's turned into 28 points.
The other thing that is for safety steel sheds, they have conceded Melbourne 41 inside 50s in the half. Now, you need to double that out to 82 if that's a full game. That's a 70-80 point margin normally if you allow somebody 80 entries.
Opening bounce of the third term for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety.
It's Cox versus Jackson. As proceedings get underway at the start of the second half, Jackson grabbed the loose ball, handed off to Brayshaw, who gave it to Viney, who returned the favour. That meant that he could run, and then he just tried to adjust the kick. It was partly disrupted. Neil Bullen, they went pull at a gate, and Maynard was able to win the footy with help from Pendlebury. Lurches the kick out to halfback, tracking it down. Lipinski showed it to Langdon. Had to go back, and there was danger in the short kick to Maynard. Has to go in and try and tidy it up, but he ran straight into Neil Bullen, who put the wraps on, and we're going to have a ball up on the 50. So it was Collingwood handling the footy, but Melbourne actually gaining the territory.
There's a poor kick, though. I mean, that's a kid that's just not dealing with what's around him.
Cox battled away at it a couple of times. Brayshaw tried to hack it forward for Melbourne. Pickett threatened to take it away from the maze of players. And in the end, Gawn and Howe took it over for a throw-in.
Another one of those forward half. In fact, it was a forward 50 turnover from Lipinski, who's generally a darn good kick.
Melbourne in attack. Boundary throw-in. Gawn front position. Knocked it down to Viney. Didn't take clean possession. Tried off the turf. Probably kicked the fingers of Howe. No whistle on the play. Howe fights on underneath. Ball skittles around. Oliver and Cox go back to work. Ball is still in motion, threatening to come out. Viney hand pass in the Fritsch direction. He found Brayshaw away from the action. Worked it to Langdon. Kicked it out on the full, much to the delight of the Collingwood fans.
Another bet, 35 free kick, 35 handballs and possessions, and the ball went 5 metres on that occasion.
Quaynor gathered himself and then drives beyond the half-back. Cox was there with Hoskin Elliott. Free kick to Cox.
So Gawn's resting at full forward. So Cox sees that opportunity then and outsized all opponents around him. Down the line, kick to Cox on the half-back flank.
He has a long, hard look. Doesn't quite go down the line. Instead tries to hit the edge of the square at half forward, which means as Melbourne sneak in and take a lovely juggling mark by Jackson. There's some options for him if he'd been quicker to his feet. Instead, he lays off the handball to Salem. He changes the angle, just takes it out wider still. And he finds Oliver. It's a slow play now for the D's.
Another intercept from Collingwood.
They lead by 17. He lofts it up to half forward. Quain all read it before anyone else, but he dropped the mark, followed it up, but the boundary line was too close, and it slips back over for another throw-in.
That's all right, though.
If you had to pick one out of Cameron and Cox, who would you take to go with Grundy?
For this position, ruck forward, switch, ruck forward.
Good question, isn't it?
Oh, hang on. Give me a moment.
Forward for Melbourne. Oliver got hold of it, knocked off his kick. Viney has a go. Kicks high around the corner. It got past Jackson's side, but spiked it the wrong way. It's taken 30 metres out into the pocket. Quaynor gets there, not much of a hand pass. Coughed it up to Gawn, but he obliged the same way. Oliver gets a touch in to win a hard ball. Pickett overwhelmed by the pressure. Nick Dacos gets hold of it. Collingwood hold up. Murphy now to Goey. Changed his mind a couple of times on the way out. Josh Dacos attacked the footy and broke through the tackle. Strong, assertive play. Off to De Goey, who just gave it up with a limp hand pass to Jordan. Dragged down by Maynard. It felt like holding the ball.
Gee, that was great desperation from Broden Maynard. Slipped off the tackle, but didn't let the jumper go. And he fell to ground and just kept holding on.
They just stayed alive then, didn't they, Collingwood?
Yep.
Maynard plays it short to Nick Dacos, who played a pivotal part in them staving off that last Melbourne attack. He goes short now back to Maynard with instructions to keep it going across the ground. They give up 30 metres to play it back through Murphy. It's slow as treacle on the way
Nathan,
out.
you've got to go. They had 3v2 on the outer wing.
So remind you of Fremantle.
Comes back the other way, back along the members. Maynard on the half volley. It's gathered by Josh Dacos. He runs back towards half back and then turns and eyes off to Goey in the middle of the ground. Took his best leap, but no mark. Had it under his control with help from Penderbury. Crowded out now by the desperate Oliver. It gets towed forward and then a handball by Salem. Neil Bullen through the 50. Pickett had a look. And his pop kick was neither here nor there, and it went through for a behind.
Dermot, I'd love a photo, an aerial shot of that where the ball landed with Dacos. It was 1 against 5.
Yeah. The other thing too is Nick Dacos is a tremendous player, but he frequently chases the ball and allows Neil Bullen goal side. He was the one who set that up, and Dacos is 15 metres further afield.
Demons by 18. Nick Dacos clears the area on the kick in, and Moore takes the contested mark. Pumps the hand pass to Nick Dacos on the follow-up, and then to side bottom, and Dacos again, but the hand pass is not much chop. It's interfered with by Neil Bullen, who works the turnover, bounced it across the turf, hoping for Langdon. Kept off it by Carmichael, who did a good job. But Oliver ended up with it. Hand pass to Langdon, kick around the corner without penetration. Chris should have intercepted. He didn't. Carmichael gave it straight up to Lever. Broke 2 tackles. Found the way through. Kicks wide inside the 50 and it bounces out of play.
Well, Melbourne's pressure is just superb at the present time. It's unravelling Collingwood's game. You don't have to get a possession all the time for Melbourne. You've just got to bring the heat, and that's what their small forwards, that's what they're all doing at the moment.
They've been able to hold up all right. They haven't conceded a score.
18 points the margin. Cox got to the drop first, got the tap down. Maynard was able to eke out a hand pass. It goes no further, and there's a free kick to Oliver.
I think it's coming, Derm.
Oliver 60 metres out. Melksham's back in the square. Fritsch led up. Gawn stayed back for company with Melksham. First playing it for Howe. He took no chances, batted it out of bounds.
So Gawn is, 4.5 minutes of playtime has expired in this third quarter, and Gawn has been a stay-at-home full forward for all of it. So they're just trying to put some panic and fear into the Collingwood backmen.
They're holding on at the moment. Gawn got the tap. Viney eked out a hand pass. Couldn't find Melksham. Moore was able to work his way through the tackle. Now Quaynor edges it back outside 50. Lever, they couldn't get around him despite Lipinski's efforts. He takes a firm chest mark, 55 metres out from goal. To the top of the square. Cox needs to mark it. He gritted his teeth and did just that.
Margin stays 18 points on the mate scoreboard. Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
I'll ask you again, Dermot, Cox or Cameron?
Right now, Coxie.
Come on, nearly got across his boot to make the spoil. It clears the defensive 50 though, and Collingwood get hold of it. Josh Dacos, loose hand pass. May cuts it off. It's going to hurt the other way. Neil Bullen fumbles the kick inside the 50. Moore cuts it off. So turnover to turnover. Now Nick Dacos across the face of goal to Quaynor. A ripple of excitement because Lipinski is clear on the worn wing. He marks, turns and delivers to Myercheck. He's at the 50. He's pulled the kick. McCreary's his man.
Well, that is one of the great kicks of the night. And brilliant move by Collingwood. It just goes to show if you try something, you get an intercept and you go fast, something can happen. But
it's almost a repeat of the first quarter when they just didn't change lane. They went completely to the other side of the ground. You circumnavigate the whole field from back flank to back flank to get it down that wing.
From the top of the goal square, McCreary gets the first of the second half. After oodles of defending, Collingwood make the incision at the other end. They're down by a couple of goals. 9-2-56 to Melbourne 10-8-68. It's a crucial moment for New Farm, Australian through and through.
We spend a lot of time analysing tactics, and sometimes it's just good to sit back and enjoy the skill of the game. And Brody Myercheck's kick was unbelievably good. It was a Doug Hawkins sizzler.
Flat, hard, got through the air very quickly onto the chest of McCreary. This is an amazing statistic. They are, what are they, 12 points. They're 2 goals down.
Yeah.
They're minus 29 in inside 50s.
Oh. Out of the middle, the Pies are going to surge again. A hand pass to Crisp. It's a low ball. Myercheck almost dragged in against May. Rivers managed to get a hand pass to Petty. They got it back to May, but McCreary, fierce determination, hunted him down.
That's the McCreary want and for the hunt of the tackle. Sometimes Stephen May, once every month, can have an absolute conniption. He just freezes in the moment and he couldn't find a target. He must have thought McCreary evaporated behind him because he forgot he was there.
Pressure can make a mug out of everyone.
They bought the grunt at the start of the third. Bo McCreary from 51 metres out. It won't be a goal. And it won't be a mark. It's fisted through by Gawn on guard for the D's. But it's back to 11 points. It's 10-8-68 playing 9-3-57. 10 minutes into the third on the Mate Australia's most satisfied NBN customers scoreboard.
Hibbard into the field of play. He's kicked in the Gawn direction. Cameron with him. Up down underneath. Oliver, creative hand pass. Brown, Brayshaw, Petrarca forward to the plate and Neil Bullen. Back to Brown and out to Langdon to go. He's closing. Quick hands from Langdon to Oliver. Back to Langdon. They work their way through the Collingwood pressure. Bouncing ball found its way up to Neil Bullen, who took him on, got caught, had the boundary as an ally and gets a throw in. We got a good call.
Well, this time Collingwood are changing it up and keeping the goalkeeper.
Could be a sub for Collingwood coming up for Spitwater, tough and ready. I think it's Hoskin Elliott.
At the throw in, Cameron knocks it down to the front. Sparrow is there. Hand pass to Oliver Langdon. His hand pass charged down by Crisp, so to be one at ground level. Carmichael didn't get much on the kick and thus it turned over. Rivers gave it away. Sparrow absorbed the tackle of Ginnivan, let it drive him over the line for a throw in.
The last kicking was really interesting. To the northern side of the ground, Melbourne only had 2 players. 16 others were out on the southern side stand because Max was out there as the target.
Gawn got the tap, but it fell Collingwood's way. Quick kick goes from Carmichael this time. May playing a metre or 2 in front of Myercheck.
A young player coming, bursting out of a congested area, non-thinking.
Yeah, sent it down the interceptor's throat. May, who finds Jordan on the slow switch. He bounds off now and goes short to Spargo as Melbourne look to build along this members half-back flank. Doesn't really have a long, tall target, so he played it short. The lead up from Neil Bullen, a good offering. He doubles back now and kicks to Ben Brown, who can run unencumbered and drag down the mark. At his very best, he'd be capable.
Well, he just got off Jeremy Howe there. He read it best. He got the 3 metre gap and his hands extended, but too much for Howe to get hold of it.
So Ben Brown walks backwards almost underneath us here.
Starts his run up on centre wing.
We're between wing and half back.
Starts his run up at Geppetto's.
Cameraman like us right behind him, giving the people around the country the view, the rear view of Ben Brown. Starts his run up now. Approaches the 50. Goes out to the right to get himself close enough, and for all that effort, he's pushed it across. And fairly tepidly, it's fisted through for a behind. So it's still a 2-goal ball game, and Melbourne still haven't found the target in this third term as Dacos scurries off into the back pocket.
He's at full tilt as he releases the hand pass to Noble. Goes a little bit quicker still and kicks long down the line. Myercheck is there. He jumped underneath it, but it's all right because Ginnivan's out the back. Caresses the kick for Elliott. Hibbert did enough. Elliott out of mid-air to keep momentum going forward. Salem back there first. Hand passes it away to Rivers, to May, and Salem's over the boundary as he receives the hand pass. Throw in. Just for a moment, the umpire was closing in a manner that suggests he might play. There's been some afters in it. They push and shove. The field umpires tell the boundary umpire to heave it in and break up the fights. Right half forward for Collingwood, trailing by 2 goals. Gawn and Cameron wrestle each other out of it. Petrarca to Langdon. High ball down the wing. Pitched, awkward bounce. Gathered okay by Sparrow, but his hand pass is loose and out of play again.
Well, it's a great effort by Collingwood. They cannot be denied. They have just got this great character and this capacity to hang in when they're not playing well and give themselves an opportunity late in the game.
Ed Langdon's face goes up on the board for a membership ad. I don't think Collingwood fans quite recognise him out the long sleeves. The ball goes back into dispute, picked up by Salem. The tackle is immediate and effective from Pendlebury. But it'll be a ball up. Take a breath. Gawn. Cameron. Gawn the tap. Oliver can't get away cleanly. Cameron couldn't get disposal on the footy either. Chris found a way to edge it forward. It bounced up though, and across half back, Jordan made himself useful and received the short pass. He links up with handball action to Hibbert, who was wrong-sided. So he gave more of the same. They've reached the wing with Spargo. Indecision. Back to Hibbert, who kept on coming off the left boot. Now it gets interesting. Gawn had the first bite at the back of the pack. Flung by Melcham. Back to Brown. One more give. Petrarca. Back to Brown. Can they find a way clear? No, is the emphatic answer. Maynard wasn't letting him escape. Brilliant pressure applied by the Pies, and Nick Dacos it was that put the tackle on that stopped him in his tracks. But collectively, this Collingwood effort in the third term to deny Melbourne time and time again has just been outstanding.
Fantastic, aren't they, the way they're defending. Haven't conceded a major in this term, and gee, it's been in there a lot.
It has.
This will challenge them. They're going wide again. This is better than going down the line.
Maynard on the long switch across the face of goal for Noble. He had a mind to bring it straight to centre half back, but he completes the switch to Murphy, who brings it out now to side bottom, and the ripple of possibility reveals itself. Side bottom had a bounce which didn't initially come back, so not full momentum as he kicks to half forward. Johnson set himself, leapt over May. May though with a defensive hand pass underneath. Worked it away to Lever and then to Fritsch serving down in defence. Arms chopped perhaps of Brown, no whistle on the play. Noble's kick against the boundary turns over to Rivers. Hand passes it inboard. Oliver caressed the kick, hoping for Brown. Pendlebury saw it coming. So Collingwood build inboard. Kick for Nick Dacos. Hand pass to Chris. Pumps it forward to the play. To Goey. Releases it. Carmichael from the 50. Missed ever so slightly to the right. There was a hold your breath affair in flights. It leaves them down by 11 points on the main scoreboard. Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
The share of the ball wasn't perfect by design, but they got it there. Yep. They support, they ran, they linked, they chained up. Oh, they deserved a major for that.
Could be a handy point, Dwayne.
Lever marks the re-entry, gave it off to May, bangs it up to the wing. Howe tried to rise, but even he couldn't get over Gawn, who dragged it down and linked up hands with Oliver. Options to the left, he went for the unpopular one. Langdon, though, won the day. Hand pass back There's return from Oliver. Now the high ball should suit Howe, but he didn't get a run out. In fact, he got pushed in the back. Advantage paid. Away comes Chris. Ball in hand. Gave it to Noble. Sideways stuff. Pendlebury eyeing off a kick into the middle, and he timed it beautifully for Howe. Give instinctively to Craner, as Collingwood do. Full stride now. Pumped up through the middle. Is this a moment for Trent Bianco? He just couldn't find the football. Elliott kept on coming. Wins it. Had to dance a couple of 2 steps, but he went over the line, and we'll have a throw in on the 50.
What about the skill of Pendlebury? The distribution, he's got very few peers.
Melbourne by 11, Collingwood in attack. Boundary throw in, 50 out from their goal. Gone to the front, hooks it, takes 20 or 30 metres on the bounce. Pick it up to meet it, dragged down by Quaynor. Ball back in dispute. Chris, quick hand pass to Bianco, then to Nick Dacos, tumbled it up the line.
He's going to
got some good territory, gets knocked off for insufficient intent. Magpie fans leave their seats to howl about it. It was unlikely to get away with it. Hunt at the restart, not great. Salem on the bump, slipped the to-go-y tackle. He had him cold, the defender got through. Salem kicks to half-back. Brayshaw went one-handed and then followed up and won a tough ground ball. Hand pass to Viney. Flopped the kick down the line. Awkward ball. Brown, neat touch. Released Petrarca. Hand passed it to Pickett. Pulls it back to Petrarca, who ran 35 down the field. And he squeezes the kick into the pocket. Bouncing ball taken by Melksham. Hand pass to Spargo. The finishing touch is deluxe. Spargo trickles it across the turf and through for a goal. A goal of the game for Host Plus. That's a plus. From deep in defence, they marched it down the field. And Melbourne gets that critical goal to re-establish a 17-point lead. Mate Scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers. 11-9-75 to Collingwood 9-4-58.
Every time you bring the ball forward from, say, your half-back line, wingish area, and there's traffic around it, there is one moment where it requires a precise possession, a precise kick, or a moment to get out of that high-pressure situation. And the handball that went out to Keziah Pickett, the chip kick that he made was extremely difficult, and he could not have executed it more perfectly. It put the ball from this is under pressure to we're making the running, and it's up to Collingwood to try and stop us.
Wobbly bounce, ticked off by the umpire. Cox reacted quickly, nudged it forward, but Lever saw it coming, although he misfires the kick off the side of the boot. It's going to go end on end towards the line. Brayshaw will pick it up, then have a choice. You can go hit by hand. Hunt didn't take possession, which was sound enough because he would have been tackled straight away. It goes out.
When you're going to look tomorrow or tonight at the replay of that last Spargo goal, have a look where Darcy Moore is. He's not on the line. He's 3 metres in front of the line, and he doesn't get back, and the ball just trickles through.
Cameron Gawn on the bench. We'll get back to that in a moment. From the throw in, it's Oliver. He forced his way past Cox, edged the kick back to the wing. Quaynor versus Pickett. No one knew quite where it was. Along came Jackson, lightning hands. Neil Bullen stayed to tackle. Shaked off, was able to shake off Noble. Handball out wide, tracked down by Sparrow. Now the forward handball to Spargo. Into the 50 they go, low and secure to Fritsch. Or is it Melksham on the long lead?
Small forwards for Melbourne having a big impact in this last few minutes.
One thing I will say, though, this quarter, thanks to safety steel shares, they've gone inside 10 times, Melbourne, for 1 goal. Yep. So Collingwood have done well with their pressure. They've done well to hold up. It's been extreme pressure on some occasions, but they have held the fort.
So the equation for Jake Melksham is a 45-degree angle and every bit of 50 metres. With the members and the Demons' hopes behind him, he comes in. It's across the face. Is there a Melbourne mark deep? Jackson, 1, 2. It's knocked away. And Murphy and Dacos combine to eke out the behind only.
Well, a bit of momentum has gone out of it for Collingwood since Carmichael ran into the open goal and missed. They've just got to curtail Melbourne now and see if they can find a little bit of momentum back again going their way.
They're holding the floodgates back. Nick Dacos leaves the defensive goal square. He's gone strongly from Lipinski. That is an aggressive kick. Very close. Rivers, as he ran behind him, was chasing him out and got the benefit of any doubt from the umpire. So the kick goes out particularly wide. Sidebottom has it under the Warren stand. A slow play coming forward as a result. He kicks in the Cox direction. Gave away front position and then didn't complete the mark. Suckered it off the turf. Hibbert was standing in front of Johnson.
He's run so hard to get there, Big Mo, so it's just got to make those two grabbers one grab.
Hibbert another intercept mark. Kicks for Brown. He flew over the top of Sidebottom a bit ungainly. Dropped the mark. Crisp and Langdon go to work. They're wrestling each other for the footy. Umpire settles it with the ball up.
He's just a totally different player, Ben Brown. Melbourne, he was restricted almost to the goal square as a leading player. Now he gets up the ground, he jumps into packs. He's a ground ball player.
4 minutes to play on the Makita clock in this third term. Lipinski to Pendlebury at the stoppage. Kick inside the 50. Lever got caught, dropped the footy. Ginnivan swoops up, gives it to DeGoey. Myercheck with the flight.
Yes, what a mark.
He's brave, isn't he?
That's a great mark. It was clever. It was a good handball out to Jordan DeGoey by Ginnivan. So it was a good ground ball one. But it was made into a shot at goal because of a terrifically courageous mark by Myercheck.
And he is at the top of the goal square. Wholehearted personifies the Magpies' entire performance, and they're still within 2 goals. Myercheck puts it through, but not before there's a score review. Sleep better with Spinelli's pillows on sale now at spinelleysne.com.au.
Might have hit the post for him.
Myercheck has no doubt that it went through. He was off celebrating and was a bit startled when he turned around to see that they were checking.
I would have thought it'd be 50 metres if it isn't a goal anyway. May has jumped a metre forward over the mark.
It's too late for that, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. That's one that the umpire missed, and you've got to call them at times like that.
Yeah.
So if something like this does happen where they hit the post, or
review
if they
complete. Looking at these angles, there appears to be a gap between the ball and the goalpost as it goes past, and no spike on edge. Decision on the scoreboard.
You know who played a big role in that was Ginnivan. I thought he allowed his man to lead him to the pack, but what he did, he sat behind his man, stationary, that's a goal, and he allowed his man to go deep in, and he had no effect. And then when the ball coughed free, Ginnivan swooped on it and shot out the handball to DeGoey. He played, you know what, we say players don't have tricks. That's a trick, to understand when not to go in because you can't really affect the play. Well played by the young man.
2 goals for Myercheck. The score 10-4-64. Collingwood trailing Melbourne 11-10-76. Mate score, but Australia's most satisfied NBN customers. There's 3 minutes and 28 seconds to go in the third term.
It's just been an exciting third term for the Pies. They're right back in it. They're moving the ball much better. They're moving Melbourne's set up down the line, and the intercept marks have dropped right off.
And they just won't go away, the Pies. Somehow hanging in.
Who's going to kick a goal after the siren did it this week?
Perfect bounce in the middle, and Cox got the tap to Lipinski at full stretch. He lost control of the footy. Jackson kept on coming for the D's. They work away underneath. Neil Bullen lost his footing, so he grabbed the footy, and he can't get it out. Umpire thinking doesn't penalise.
Thinking, Anthony.
Throwing up a try there, thrown up in the middle. Tapped from Cox to DeGoey. Toppled over under the Viney tackle. Grabbed by Lipinski, slammed it onto the boot. Into the open spaces at left half forward. Out comes Petty, overran it with his enthusiasm. Next up was Rivers, and he gets taken down in a Cameron tackle. In fact, it was Hunt who was taken down in the Cameron tackle.
Well, boy, Ash Johnson got under the skin of Harrison Petty, Stephen May, and Michael Hibbert at that last goal. He's on the bench at the moment, but they're a little agitated, the key Melbourne backmen at the moment. They're looking for little fights when they don't need to.
Jackson went up early. Cameron wasn't decisive, but to go, he read it off the hands really well. Forced himself clear. Oh, hit the wrong part of the ball on the left foot kick. And get the aim right in the end. It's out of bounds on the full. 76 Melbourne, 64 the Pies. Make Australia's most satisfied NBN customers. Makita clock really outdoors with Makita. 26 gone.
James Jordan with a long kick at the restart. Howe stole it away from Gawn. Neat touch from Cameron and then Maynard, but Petrarca with the defensive disposal. A hand pass to Jordan, to Gawn, to Brayshaw in the tackle of McCreary. Hand passed it straight for the boundary. That had to be insufficient intent. They've appealed for a few of the Pies fans and come away empty-handed for most. This time, Jeremy Howe has the ball at halfway.
Coxie.
He is kicking it in the Cox direction. Gawn is in front. Cox made the spoil. Ginnivan ran into Oliver. Umpire waves play on. Lipinski swings the kick to goal. He got so much on that from 45 metres out that it just kept flying and flying. And the Pies trail by just a goal. They haven't been this close since the opening term. 11-4 plays 11-10. A goal of the game for Host Plus. That's a plus.
Well, Clayton Oliver tackled Ginnivan. And Ginnivan turned his back on him and sagged at the knees, and Clary went a little high. It was one of those ones which is genuinely line ball. But Clary Oliver then stood over the top of him and started yelling at him, stand up and whatever. Clary, follow the ball.
Have a listen to the Magpie fans at the MCG.
Good game.
It's a ripper.
Back within 6. Gawn got the tap. Petrarca marched through. Just got the handball. Did he? Off to Brayshaw, inside 50. Quaynell can't trap it, overrun it. So did Maynard. Poke forward off the ground by Pickett. Neil Bullen. Here's Max off the outside of the boot. No, it wasn't. He tried to fashion it off the outside. He hit the wrong part of the Sharon again at the nut. Out on the full.
A minute 45 to go in the third term. Melbourne by a goal. Murphy at the restart. Oliver came up at it. Cox worked him underneath. Gawn did the bullocking under the pack. May released Oliver backwards to Salem. This is at half forward. Fashioned a kick to Petrarca at centre half forwards.
Maynard's got Pickett and he just doesn't have enough wheels to follow him. There's a bit of space outside the channel if he goes to a pocket.
Kick this one straight through to
Petrarca's
60.
Quick look to the bench, seeing that there's a minute to go. He wants to take the set shot. He's at centre half forward, stayed on his line, kicked it horribly out into the pocket, or did he? Because Brown led up to take the mark. Maybe she was all a cunning plan.
That was that space. That was that space. That I said there was a whole pocket really wide open. That's very cleverly done. They were on the same page.
It was a great kick, yeah.
All the way through.
So it's the tough angle in the right forward pocket. Brown will start in the gutter. Kicked the goal in the second term. On the big swinger, he stays against the boundary, bending it near side all the way. Only behind. He's kicked 1-1. It's a 7-point margin in favour of Melbourne. Made scoreboard Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
Pies bring it back into play in the last 30 seconds of the third. Mark taken by Jeremy Howe. Settles.
Come on the other side.
Do anything rash. Trots off. Kicks with extreme width. Good contest. Mytek versus May again. Fisted forward by May. Langdon's onto it. Is their time? Nonchalant give. Petrarca one more. Neil Bullen can't escape the clutches. More prolonged tackle. Must be rewarded. No.
This is where I get frustrated when there's no team prior opportunity. I mean, you've handballed it to him. You should pay the price. More so than a bloke who goes in to win the ball.
Petrarca tried to run through the stoppage, but the siren and the Pies defence beat him. And so, at three-quarter time, Melbourne have just kicked 1 goal in the third. 1 goal, 4. Collingwood managed 3 goals, 2 of their own. Scoring dried up a bit, but the excitement didn't. It's a 7-point lead to the D's. 11-11-77 to 11-4-70 on the Mate scoreboard. Mate Internet and Mobile, award-winning Aussie service. Mobile plans from $20. Our toughest player of the day is for Hard Yakka legendary gear, and our player of the day for Whirlpool kitchen and laundry appliances.
Dermot Gerrard coming up next on AFL Nation.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Mate Internet and Mobile. Award-winning Aussie service. Mobile plans from $20.
Want to win free barista-made coffee for an entire year? That's a lot of lattes. Just buy a McCafe coffee on the My Macca's app for your chance to win. There are 25 winners every day. But hurry, limited time only. Ends 30th of the 8th, 22. Visit mcdonalds.com.au/coffeecom for full terms.
Shirley booked car insurance awarded for being very cheap. But come claim time, Shirley realised that choosing a bargain can end up being very, very expensive. Yes, this is the sound of bargain regret. Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does.
Lucky you're with Amy.
Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you. TMD also available.
Good for the game tomorrow?
Nah, still trying to sell the car.
Give me your phone, let me do it.
Yeah, good luck.
Car sales, instant offer.
Car sales what?
Instant offer. You can skip creating an ad, dealing with buyers and waiting for a decent offer all weekend.
Is that the offer for my car already?
Yep. Now just take it to one of the official buyers nationwide, get it looked over, and the money drops the next business day. So I'll see you at the game then?
Yeah, see you at the game.
Car sales instant offer. The hassle-free way to sell your car.
T's and C's apply.
Connect with Beaumont Tiles and grow your business. Go to iCanWin.com.au. You could win a $25,000 advertising boost to take your business to the next level, supported by Beaumont Tiles. Builders, renovators, tilers, enter now. iCanWin.com.au.
Whether you've driven to work, caught a plane, hit the pub, or watched the game this week, you would have seen a big screen video installation along the way. We entertain audiences with our innovative big screen solutions. Visit bigscreenvideo.com.au to see how BSV can bring your space to life.
Which oil keeps your business moving? Farmers and fleet managers, they know. Construction crews and car mechanics, they know. And you know. Valvoline, the original engine oil.
Ride the Great Ocean Road this November on Australia's favourite riding and camping holiday, the Great Vic Bike Ride. Join this bucket list adventure and explore crowd favourites and hidden gems from Koroit to Buninyong. With 9, 5 or 3-day ride options to choose from, it'll be the perfect way to kickstart your summer with family and friends. Make sure you book before early bird entries end on Sunday, August 7 and save up to $120 off your ticket. Head to greatvic.com.au.
Spitwater, built tough and ready in Australia for 40 years with a brand new look and the same rugged reliability. Right now, take advantage of the ATO Instant Tax Write-Offs for business. That's instant clean, instant tax write-off, instant job well done. With distribution, sales and service centres located in Brisbane, Sydney, Albury, Melbourne, Adelaide and Perth, and authorised dealers in all major centres throughout Australia. Call 1-800-SPITWATER now or visit spitwater.com.au today.
Here's another Melbourne Storm player profile. Xavier Coates joined the Storm this season and has quickly become a fan favourite. The young winger has good height and blazing speed, which has already seen him debut for Queensland in State of Origin and Papua New Guinea in his short career. Born in Port Moresby, Coates played his junior footy for the Currumbin Eagles before making his NRL debut at the age of 18 for the Brisbane Broncos in 2019. He debuted for Storm against the Tigers in round 1 this year and had his jersey presented to him by former Storm star Matt Gayer, who was previously Coates' under-17s coach. It was Gayer who helped the young Xavier to follow a rugby league career by organising a call from Storm legend Greg Inglis. A try-scoring machine, Coates has crossed the line in his NRL, Origin, Test and Storm debuts. He will look to add many, many more in the purple jersey in coming seasons. Ride the Storm in 2022. Head to melbournestorm.com.au to become a member or buy tickets for our next home game.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now. Macca's I'm Loving It Moments. The Australiano, made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian wattle seed.
Bouncing ball taken by Melksham. Hand pass to Spargo. The finishing touch is deluxe. Ginnivan swoops up, gives it to De Goey. Myercheck with the flights.
Yes, what a night.
Wholehearted personifies the Magpies' entire performance, and they're still within 2 goals. Ginnivan ran into Oliver. Umpire waves play on. Lipinski swings the kick to goal. He got so much on that, and the Pies trail by just a goal. It's 7 points at three-quarter time. I'm Loving It Moments for Macca's. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Macca's today. Dermot and Jared?
I thought Nick Dacos, Dermot, was absolutely superb in that quarter. 10 possessions, going at 90%, and it was a different Dacos. He actually started hitting some targets. around the ball, they really turned it on. Their pressure was so much better, and they worked out where they went wrong in the first half and started going around Melbourne. They brought the pressure to bear, and they've given themselves a chance.
Christian Petrarca is the most metres gained on the ground, 420, followed by Gawn, 401, followed by Salem, 400. So they're taking what is in front of them. Melbourne have taken 10 marks inside 50 to Collingwood's 5.
Opening bounce of the final term for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety. Can Collingwood pull the same trick twice and run over the top of Melbourne? Gawn hooks the opening tap back over his head, but it was so wide of the circles it's been recalled.
So why can't they, Jared, why wouldn't it be just sensible upstairs to say that 2 seconds can go back on now? 19:58, and we haven't actually started the quarter.
Melbourne by 7, tossed up in the middle. Gawn tapped it down and then followed up. Socketed off the turf, rolled it through centre half forward. Up comes Pickett. Dragged down in the tackle of Maynard. Hand passed it off to Spargo. Then to Oliver. The kick's going to be cut off. No, Jordan to go. He dropped it, left it there. Fritsch stands in the tackle. No, he's pinned by one arm. Holding the ball. Murphy clung on for grim death.
Saved to go his skin. Shouldn't have dropped that one. Just took his eyes off it.
No, you want your powerhouse to just motor through that and accept that mark.
Murphy hand passes to Nick Dacos, who crafts a gorgeous kick. Out to Crisp, forward to the middle. Attacking ball to Maynard. Pumps it inside. It gets further and further away, though.
He was a bit stiff, though, Maynard. He wanted to give the handball off, and he made the call. No, if I give it, he's only going to get tackled, so he just pumped it.
It bounced down to play 55 from goal. He holds up his hand in apology. A chance that got away as both Johnson and Elliott were leading into the pocket. Gawn gets rid of Cameron, takes the ball clean. Hand pass forward to the play. Petrarca onto the bouncing ball. He's pulled up in his run. Hand pass to Oliver. Almost turned it over. Swatted away by Pendlebury. Gathered though by Jordan. Backwards to Gawn. The pressure coming at them. Hunt has a go. Long down the line. Maynard was trying everything, but Brown just too tall.
Collingwood need a huge lift out of Cameron. You cannot let Max Gawn dictate like a midfielder.
Have it off to Petrarca, who found the leading Fritsch. Long contemplation from 70 metres out. He places it for the leading forwards. In the end, Melstrom couldn't hang on. The winger getting back is side bottom. Slapped it on his left boot. It falls fortuitously onto the chest of Nick Dacos, who played on. Fritsch pounced. Had to be holding the ball. Play on the call now. Viney gave to Fritsch, marching in blindly to the 50. Murphy stopped him, but, he stunned him, but didn't stop him. Play on again. Viney off. It goes to Jordan, who goes short, trying to find Pickett. There was 3 pies back there, including Ginnivan, who gets the high kick up and down on the spot. Flying is Maynard, fully committed. Back up from Howe. Rapid fire handball. Back to Howe. Keeps it in. There's a wrestle on.
Good fight.
And Petty over the top of Johnson. Fisted out of bounds. There's a Collingwood player. Nick Dacos injured.
Here we have a corked thigh, I reckon, out of that from the tackle that got him blindsided, and he was completely unaware that Fritsch was in closing.
He's grabbing at his ribs.
Right, okay.
He's been such an influential player, so his absence will be felt. Salem with a hand pass, which is cut off by Crisp at the stoppage. Couldn't get away from Oliver. Did release the hand pass to Goey. Arched the back, ran away from Salem. Kicks in the Johnson direction. Almost marked between two. Flipped it back between his legs. Elliott in the pocket. Missed the locks.
Steve Harms was very... it might have been a throw, but we'll see if he scooped it. Clever, though.
The goal umpire is going to send this to review to check if it's snuck in at the behind post.
Score review.
Good throwback by
is out on the full.
Ash Johnson.
That's a bit throw, didn't it?
Review underway.
Sleep better with Spunley's pillows on sale now at spunleysteddy.com.au. It looked very much
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball crosses the line on the boundary side of the post. Decision on the scoreboard.
Don't know why I look to our biased producer for confirmation. Never going to get an objective view at the back.
I tell you what, though, Collingwood have caught Melbourne out twice without impacting on the scoreboard in this quarter, with exciting, just absolute electric play going forward. Maynard sort of fluffed his line on the final kick, and that one there as well.
A powerful ruse back in the direction of Gawn. He was behind Lipinski, so forced to spoil.
Now this is where they need a clearance. Their clearance numbers have been right down tonight. They've got territory. They've got to pump it back in or nail a goal.
Melbourne by 7. Early stages, final term. Gripping Friday night footy as we get closer to finals. And a taste of what might be to come. The Ruckman both topple on over, no whistle. De Goey prevailed, got through cleanly, and then he's able to poke it just inside the 50. Lipinski eased onto the mark. He'll have the tightest of shots. Jimmy Elliott type territory at the other pocket. He kicks. Speaking of Elliott,
Great hands.
He leads and marks close to the line.
So the important thing there is Lipinski gets back quickly off the mark because Melbourne can't set and get like the extra 3 or 4 midfield defenders to block up any leading channel. Because the kick from Lipinski was not going to cover that distance. It was always going to be a lead from a small or agile forward.
Ice fans thought it might have been worthy of 50. Instead,
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely worth 50.
edges around on the left boot and didn't really threaten. It fell short as it marked.
Oh,
It is
it's him, Ash.
by Johnson. Oh, we're going to get another review here.
They were down on their crater early, so they're making up for it.
The bosses of Spinal Ease have got on the line to kill.
Umpire's call is a mark. Please confirm it was marked inside the field of play.
Was it marked inside a bit of bubble? First look.
We're having a look at the car sales, everything you auto know replay, and the Melbourne supporters are seeing 90% of the ball cross the back of the line, but it has to completely pass to the back of the line before it's a dead ball and it's a score. I reckon they're going to pay the mark here.
It might even be 95, Dermot. Lots of mark. When he first grabbed
Review complete. Looking at these angles, we can see the ball is controlled before crossing the back of the behind line. Decision on the scoreboard.
So the key for young people, footballers, is it must pass completely past the back edge of what we anticipate that line is.
So that's confirmed. Now Johnson will have to get all the logistics right here and what he can and can't do. Almost obscured by the behind post. He's a couple of metres back. Out to the left.
Shank.
And
He had
missed
more
it by
time.
about 30 metres on the other side.
Just hit the wrong side of the ball. Missed it by 2-shot penalty for that.
I think you've got to think your way through that for a good 7 or 8 seconds before you actually get into your stride to take it.
Both kicks were inexplicable. Elliott not making the distance and then Johnson missing by further than he was out from the goal target. The restart finds Lever, who kicks it long to half-back. Gawn makes the spoil against Cameron. Pickett down, but got it to his boot. Langdon with a high ball down the wing. Howe is well set. Coming back with the flight was Sparrow. The ball fell into the hands of Carmichael. Kick to half-forward, but Gawn is there.
Just a bit of an experience from Carmichael a couple of times. There were blokes to handball too. He just bombed it again to Big Max.
Off to Petty, then to Petrarca. Got his kick away before he got knocked over. And Jordan has it at left half back for the Demons. They lead by 7 points. We're 8 minutes into the final term, but most of those minutes have been taken up by score reviews, it seems. Kick beyond halfway. They grapple. Fritsch got to the front, dropped the mark, fumbled the footy. It is out of play. And we've seen Nick Dacos down on the bench. He is in pain for Spitwater, tough and ready.
But he's coming back, Jared. Going to fight through it. He's back on the ground. Sprints on as we watch the throw-in. Grabbed by Cameron. His kick was smothered involuntarily. It bounces back to Oliver. So at half forward, a left foot spinning ball hits the ground. It was too tall even for Jackson. Howe. Hand pass to the cool and calm Nick Dacos, who measured the pass. Well, that's bobbled out of the hands of McCreery, so it's a throw-in rather than a grab.
Gee, it's a beautiful kick, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kid can play.
Good hands from... I'll come back to that. Jeremy Howe it was.
He's by 7. Throw-in. Jordan. Can't shake off Lipinski. Under the hammer, the boundary line might have saved him. It did.
Still falling for that one, the umpires.
Yeah, the old
tackle player furiously hammers the ball with his fist. I'm trying to get rid of it.
9 minutes on the Makita clock. Pendlebury takes a rest. Adjacent to this throw-in. Cameron tried to shark it. In the end, he did better than that. Tapped it to Crisper, kicked it to half forward in a rush. Under pressure. Petty trying to deny access for Johnson. Johnson tackled him, dragged him, turned him, rolled him. And it went out of bounds, ball in hand. A throw-in 35 metres around from goal.
Ash Johnson's, he's shown he's half clever. Harrison Petty's a very good, reliable, solid defender, but he's straight up and down. If you throw a few different things at him, I reckon he's a little bit vulnerable in those one-on-ones.
Collingwood in attack. Lipinski off the ground at the stoppage. It trickles toward the behind post. Hibbert got there. Hand pass dividing. Caught. Holding the ball. Surely. Elliott wins another one.
He's got to take full toll with this. What is he, Jared? 9 metres out from the goals. A little bit sharper than a 45-degree angle. Man on the mark will be 9-10 metres out.
Elliott has been unrelenting in those moments throughout the night. A Toro tackle of the game. Count on it. He has kicked 3. A chance to make it a 1-point ball game. Jamie Elliott, measured in his approach, fires straight, celebrates with the Magpie faithful. It has a familiar air about it. The deficit just a solitary point. 12-4-76 Collingwood. Melbourne 11-11-77. It's another Magpie thriller. 11 minutes into the final term. McDonald's scoreboard catch, a quarter pounder at Macca's.
I'll tell you what, if you've got a Magpie membership this year, if you don't care what they dish up in the years to come, because you're getting full value. This is extraordinary what this team is dishing up this year. They are 1 point behind. And if I go to the stat sheet here, inside 50s, they are minus 28 Collingwood. And they are 1 point behind. That cannot be so. It's a misprint.
Centre bounce. Up went Cox. Up went Jackson. Charging through to Goey. This is the play that could put them in front. Elliott in the frame. He went the spoil. It's 30 metres out from goal. Ginnivan, careful not to bring him down illegally, was Hunt. He did well, played on its merits. Whipped the hand pass out to Viney. And then off to Langdon. He legs it out of there. Kicks to Neil Bullen on the wing. It took 2 pies to hunt him down. And they succeeded. Maynard tapped it. Nick Dacos chipped it. Ginnivan versus Rivers. He cleared the path for side bottom. Then Hunt came off his line next. And was able to hold things up. We'll get a ball out. 55 metres out from goal. 11-11-77 Melbourne. 12-4-76 Collingwood. McDonald's catch a quarter pounder at Macca's scoreboard.
How has Collingwood got an extra in their forward line? Oh, somebody's coming back now to pick up Bianco.
Cox reaching back, tapped it. The kick was smothered from Carmichael. It bounces back Melbourne. Oh, Neil Bullen just got run over by Maynard. Play on the call. In the spirit of the night, it'll be a baller.
So what happened there is Melbourne got an extra at the stoppage and Maynard sat off the back and he just cleaned up and nailed that tackle.
Side bottom at the stoppage, poked it inside 50 and Johnson skids in to take the mark.
I don't mind this kid. What I've seen of him tonight, he's willing to play in front. He's a good size. And he just reads the drop of the ball. He just keeps running to the hack little kick that goes forward. This occasion it was side bottom, slam dunk kick onto the foot. He really did just hammer it onto his left foot. It only travelled 20 metres forward. Played in front, ran onto the dropping ball.
Haven't led since they kicked the first goal of the game, the Pies. Ash Johnson, 40 metres out. Perfect! Magpies put their nose in front. Middle stages of the final term. Collingwood 13-4-82 over Melbourne 11-11-77. McDonald's scoreboard catch, a quarter pounder at Macca's.
So if I'm sitting up in that coach's box now, I'm looking at that centre bounce clearance. De Goey took it away from the middle with power and Melbourne could not get it. And they got their hands on the footy a few times, but they could not get it further than 70 metres out from goal trying to rebound. So Collingwood's forward half game has really kicked in now in this last quarter. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. This is extraordinary.
On the live ladder, they've replaced Melbourne in second. There's a long way to go in this final term. But the mighty roar from the Collingwood fans has gone to another level. Back in the middle, Jackson wary of Cox, who came over the top, knocked it down. Viney goes to work. Hand pass to Rivers coming off the square. Kicks Melbourne inside 50. Gawn in front. At the back, Fritz didn't know whether to go for it or leave it for Ben Brown. He left it for Ben Brown. It got dislodged from Alex Neil-Bullen. Fritz put his head down and tried to attract a free kick. The umpire wasn't buying. It's a ball up. 35 metres out from Melbourne's goal. Punt road end of the stadium. They find themselves in arrears.
Maynard got stomped on then. He's got a bit of a limp happening at the back of the pack.
Gawn got the tap. No access, Neil-Bullen. Oh, Lipinski's claimed. It squirts out the back to Maynard. They escape. Quick kick end on end. It's going to sit next to the line and it's helped over.
Was that out the full? Hit him below the knee.
No, not putting the umpire. Throw in. It's still Collingwood by 5.
I'm telling you what, I'm looking at the replay here. That was out in the full. Didn't pick it up, the umpire.
Replaying for car sales, everything you ought to know. Near the wing, the throw in. Cox drives the fist through it. Josh Dacos couldn't quite get hold of it. Hand pass was indiscriminate from Rivers, scooped up by Lipinski. It went unwhistled. Rivers' kick was smothered. It ricocheted to Hunt. High ball to half forward for Melbourne. Gawn stands, takes a juggling mark. Brown leads out of the square. Kick goes in the Fritsch direction. Oh, Brown. It landed on Brown's chest after Fritsch had flailed at it in the air.
Almost got through the... I mean, Fritsch was the target. He led up and jumped high, but just ran under the ball. And I reckon Brown was surprised that the ball carried over the top in the end. Yeah, got onto him a little quick.
It's just suddenly on the sternum. He has kicked 1 goal 1, 45-degree angle to the left. Brown begins his approach. He'll kick from 35 out. Ben Brown, bang! Melbourne back in front. Twelve, 11-83, just their second goal of the second half. Collingwood 13-4-82. 10 minutes and 42 seconds remain in the game on the Makita clock. We'll be outdoors with Makita.
It's a beautiful kick. When you're looking at these types of pressure moments, even in coach's box, you know how you see some blokes say, yeah, well, we get enough shots, we kick them, we kick 70% of them, we go that way. In a coach's box, you're saying, give it to me now. This is the moment. We've got you as a goal kicker. You must kick this.
Great goal for Ben Brown. Maynard being looked at for Spitwater, tough and ready.
Maxie still anchored inside the Melbourne forward line, inside the goal square. He'll get unleashed for about the last 6 or 7 minutes.
Almost at the midpoint of the final turn. Great tap from Jackson, the soft touch. Oliver sends it bouncing inside 50. Brown full-chested, knocked it away. Coming through at 1,000,000 miles an hour with Pendlebury. He's dislodged. Handball Sparrow. Oliver forced the issue, then retreated. A handball to Petrarca. He kicks for Brown. He's got the hot hand, but it was too tall even for BB. And it slides over and out 35 metres around.
This gives Melbourne a chance now to set up for anything Collingwood get and try to rebound with. Melbourne are ready to cut
Cox
it off.
knocked it down. Sorry, Derm. Shucked by Pendlebury. That's going to be coming back. Yep. Deliberate. So, Petrarca, set up kick. And he flies. Pickett went one-handed. It fell to Murphy instead. Bit of a push from May. Got rid of Myercheck. Now he has to find it on the ground. It's 55 out from Melbourne's goal. It's not anymore. Stocked away by Elliott. This could amount to something. McCreary fighting a lone battle. Handball's out in front of himself. Petty stuck to the task. He was dogged, but he got it out of bounds. And that's a win for Collingwood. And they can set up. Remind me not to stand on the cord in the middle of the box, in the middle of a tense final term. It's 83 Melbourne, 82 Collingwood. 18 minutes final quarter.
Crucial moments for New Farm, Australian through and through. Cox flew from behind, won the tap. Kick fell the way of Chris, brought down by Petrarca. Hand passes it away to Oliver. Gives it to Brayshaw. The Demons have it at half back. Careful with the kick as Oliver runs forwards. They've got options in the middle of the ground. Oliver is disinclined to take them. He will instead unload down the line. Quaynor makes a run at it, makes the spoil. Carmichael underneath, hand pass to Pendlebury, delayed the hand pass to Crisp, kept himself free. Now Josh Dacos relentlessly going forward. Kick out to Myercheck, May dives at it. Myercheck lays the tackle, Lever on the tidy up, lends a hand. Hibbert, good hand pass, Pickett, good touch out the side. Well gathered by Langdon to Hibbert, back to Langdon. Clears the area down the wing. Brown came up, couple collide. Pickett missed it, it's coming back. Side bottom to Pendlebury. Inboard to Carmichael. Nick Dacos to Josh Dacos to goal. It's delirium in the Magpie Army. The Dacos boys put the Pies back in front. 14-4 to 12-11 in what is becoming a titanic struggle. Time on now of the final term. A play of the day for visitmildura.com.au.
They were just players, well, we call them loose, but they were just finding little pockets of space. I mean, there's so much fatigue in this game now. As soon as Melbourne have it, they're under pressure. They look to make a bit of play forward. And then it's 7-8 metres to get back to their Collingwood opponent when the ball gets turned over. They can't make that ground. It's a fantastic game to watch. And it's full of fatigue, full of pressure. Kick that from in between a Melbourne player chasing him 4 metres and one 3 metres in front of him.
Still 8 minutes 45 remaining in a long final term. Gawn got the tap. Petrarca was on the move. No one could win it conclusively. Viney put the head down in the bottom up. Got it to Oliver. And back to Viney. The stars align for the D's. Off it goes to Neil Bourne. Who answers back. What an epic. Melbourne back in front. The finals have come way too early. But we are loving it.
Gone into the middle. First time into the middle since he's been rested down into the goal square for this quarter. And what happens? They come out the front side of the circle and they score on clearance out of the centre circle.
Bit of Melbourne grand final stuff, wasn't it?
24 shots to 18 and they're 1 point ahead. Oh, it's an extraordinary scoreline.
It's exceptional. 4 lead changes in this final change. A Bendix breaks, big moment. Confidence stopping, Bendix breaks. Melbourne by a point. A quarter that will stretch long into the nights. Bouncing in the middle. Gawn takes it clean. Kicks it to Pickett on the lead. Front line of the centre square. Fritsch out into the pocket. The ball follows him there. It bounces into his clutches. Murphy lays the tackle. Hand pass goes backward to Langdon, confronted by Sidebottom, who worked him over. Sidebottom hand passes creatively to DeGoey. Working close to the boundary. Takes the kick, the wrong side of it. Kicked it out on the full. Trying to get it to Ginnivan. So Melbourne at the restart find Oliver on the worn wing at halfway. He signals his intention to kick it in deep, and he does just that. Brown with the fly. Howe got up over the top. Josh Dacos does the roving. Hand pass to Crisp. Quick from hand to foot. Bouncing ball to Myercheck. Brings it inboard to DeGoey. Checks the kick to McCreary. Johnson's the deep target. Lipinski out into the pocket. Kick goes for Johnson. 1-on-1. Pushed. He was pushed.
That's that matchup, Jared, I spoke of. The kid Johnson has a little bit about him. He comes at the footy. He's a good size. He can stretch. And as I said, Petty's a good standard backman, but under pressure, he pushed Johnson under the footy, and it's a free kick all day long.
Ash Johnson in his 4th game of league footy, lining up for his 4th goal of the evening, deep in the 4th term, with the match in the balance. His side trails by a point. 30 metres from goal. Johnson has a fine set shot, wow. And this is every bit of it. There has never been a team with greater belief in tight finishes than this Magpie outfit. And again, they claw their way to the front. 15-4, 94 Collingwood. Melbourne 13-11, 89, 24 minutes into this stirring final term.
We normally go to a stat sheet, and thank you to Stacey Steele-Sheds for providing it, and it gives you a snapshot of the game, but I cannot make head or sense. Plus 30 inside 50s for Melbourne, and they are behind by 5 points. I said before the game, their forward line looks like it's going to be a 6-6-6 here.
Yep, Collingwood late to get the numbers right, so I think it's just a warning. Gawn asking for more than that. No, not even a warning. It's a bounce. Back in the middle. Gawn tapped it. Oliver knew where it was going. Fired it out to Viney. He sold and they bought. Onto the left boot he rolls. Is there a high flyer in the house? No. At the back of the pack coasting across Quaynor. Just blasts it out of there. The immediate danger. The wrestle's on, but McCreary wouldn't be denied. Rivers is furious with himself. He's taken the mark, McCreary. Right up at half back.
I've liked to go his last quarter. He looks like he's in good nick, and he's very powerful when he gets around the footy.
Collingwood by 5. McCreary, long. Cameron pushes, shoves. Can't drag it down against Gawn. Bianco versus Jordan. He rolls him over, and the umpire will intervene and call for a ball up. 25 minutes now on the Makita clock in the final turn, but still over 6 minutes left of an enthralling final turn. What a Friday night of football. Collingwood by 5. The rucks wrestle. The tap from Gawn. De Goey going nowhere. And it's up to the umpire to separate them.
So De Goey's actually a high half forward at the moment. He's just come up from the forward line.
Tap down by Gawn. Back towards the line. Picked up by Chris. Fired it out to Cameron. Nudges the kick forward. It bounced in front of Petty. Body lined it. Left it behind. McCreary trying to force. Just muscle his way out of the Hunt tackle. He failed. And he's given a bit of latitude by the umpire. I'm not sure he really attempted to get rid of the footy, but it's going to be a ball up nonetheless.
Inside the final 6 minutes, Magpies at half forward. Gawn wins the tap. It skittles the way of Jordan. Hand pass to Viney. Slipped it down the line. Brown outworked by Howe. Had the first hand pass smothered by Brayshaw. Got it back, and then his endeavours to get it along the boundary to Bianco. He hand passed it out of play. Crowd 70,956. They are seeing one of the games of the season. 5 lead changes so far in this final term. Collingwood by 5 points. Boundary throw in on the wing. De Goey storming through the stoppage. Drops it onto the right boot. Kicks for Myercheck. May too strong for him. Had front position, and no matter how he was harried, wouldn't give it up. Sideways to Salem with risk. Mark taken before Johnson could intervene. The successful switch to the outer side for Petty, but nothing obvious to work with. So he stops and waits, and now it gets going from the defensive 50 and takes the territory. It's well manned by Collingwood as Maynard takes the repelling mark.
He doesn't need to bring it forward. He goes short to Noble. 27 minutes now on the Makita clock. Off to Dacos. Nick goes short and he finds Lipinski. They've got it almost a half forward. Things have slowed. Inside the last 5 minutes now. Lipinski as long as he can. Myercheck against 3D. Staying down was Johnson. He knows the moves to make, but no Houdini this time. He can't get out of the lockup. It's a ball up. The calm before the final storm, perhaps. 4.5 minutes remaining. All eyes to the forward pocket. Collingwood attacking. Gawn got the tap. Volleyed back by Oliver to Brayshaw. Back to Ben Brown. Well up the ground. Didn't take the mark. Great work by Moore. They squirted out to the front of the pack. Nowhere to go, Lipinski. Got the full round to the kitchen. Now Pickett joins the fray. Handball to Oliver. Back to Brown. Not going anywhere, any method at all. Side bottom changes all of that. Identified Crisp. Hit him on the chest. 55 out. It's 1-on-1 in the square, but again, he presses pause.
A lot of Melbourne players are going into the calf stretch. They look like they're cramping. They look tired. They couldn't get to the other side when they switched direction.
Under 4 minutes to go. Crisp, set up kick. There's Elliott. There's Myercheck. There's the fist from May. At the back, Petty needs to be sure. Was that high contact? It was. As he went sliding in, Viney, and he drew the high contact
Yeah, that's
We've got
legit.
3 minutes 35 as he finds a safe exit. And it's Hibbert who's going to launch the ball up to the MCC members' wing.
Jordan's got 2 against him. Bianco made the spoil. Maynard kept it away from him, knocked it out of play. Collingwood trap it in their forward half, leading by 5. It'll be 55 metres out from the Collingwood goal. Ruckman arrived for the throw-in. Gawn front position. Knocked it down near Oliver. Threw it onto the boot. Bounces it up the line. Fritsch up to meet it. Maynard propelled himself in. Fritsch ended up with it. Ran into Bianco. Got stripped to the footy. Viney's hand pass charged down. Oliver wins a hard ball underneath to Jordan, to Brayshaw. Dragged off it by McCreary, and the kick flopped in short as a result. One back by Bianco. They hold the 3 up on the bench. Bianco has it right in front of those interchange gates. He'll take the territory up the line. May had a fly at it. Didn't come down with it. Gawn knocked it forward momentarily. McCreary's after the hard ball. Chris lends a hand. Chris bounces it inside the 50. Hibbert came out, knocked it away from Elliott. Levers caught by Lipinski. Wrapped him up. It'll be a ball up, 30 out from the Collingwood goal.
2 minutes 27 now to the city end. Our eyes are drawn. Thrown up by the umpire. Cameron versus Gawn. Two-handed from Gawn. Side bottom Reddit. Off to Chris. Is there enough on the kick? It cleared May's head and rattled into the post. And it's a 1-goal ball game. 15-5-95 to 13-11-89. 2 minutes 12 to go. Melbourne get it re-entry quickly. Back to half-back, but no further yet.
Petrarca overwhelmed by the numbers and knocked off holding the ball. It was all on instinct. Hibbert brought it out quickly, trying to create the play, but Petrarca had the field pitted against him. Pendlebury wins the free kick inside the final 2 minutes, protecting a 1-goal lead.
He wants the pocket. He's saying, everybody go to the pocket. Let's spoil it. Create a stoppage. We can protect the ball on stoppage in our own forward pocket.
Sideways to Nick Dacos. Here's the entry. May flies. Johnson disputed it in the air. Has to be won at ground level. Petty holds the fort for Melbourne and just holds the footy up. As Collingwood look to create close to goal, it'll be a ball up right forward pockets. If Collingwood score, they likely win. Myercheck, the last to rise. It's all on blood and guts now. Gawn back over his head. It disappears into the skirmish. Oliver's held up with it. Try again.
So if you see a Collingwood player, unless he can get the ball, unless he can get a shot at goal, he's heading back into the pack and absorb the tackle and make another stoppage. They just want to kill time.
Deep forward for Collingwood, 6 points up, tap near Josh Dacos. Viney kept it away from him. Oliver tackled, dispossessed. Hibbert has a go. It fell the way of Hunt in the tackle, released it. Elliott in the pocket, confronted by Gawn. It spills away from them and out of play. 65 seconds left in the game.
Clock says 32 minutes and 27 seconds. Collingwood fans can barely breathe. They lead by 6 points. Throw it in the pocket. Gawn got the tap. Oliver bursting through Brayshaw. Can they get an opportunity on the football? No, Dacos. Bianco dives on him. Umpire won't read that favourably. He demands them to get it out, but they can't break the deadlock, the gridlock, and the umpire has to call for a ball up.
This is brilliant by Collingwood. It's ugly footy. They're just making stoppage after stoppage. They've soaked up 45 seconds and the ball has not moved more than 12 metres. 46 seconds remaining.
It's 40 out from goal. Collingwood attacking. Gawn the tap. Dacos kick smothered. Viney trying hard, trying anything. It's still in dispute. The sheer massive humanity over the footy.
Brilliant.
It's not getting out of there.
Brilliant, ugly football. Wow, this is what you know when they give you situations at training. You're trained for this.
Gawn thumps it, spikes it back towards the wing. An opportunity at last for Melbourne, but again the Pies get the wealth of numbers around the ball. Noble edges it forward. It's inside the 50. They're waiting for the siren, but May squeezes out a kick. Chris takes the mark.
The win.
hugs in the chest mark, and every Collingwood supporter around the MCG would give anything to get out there and give him a collective hug.
The umpires are going to let him line up for goal. He'll kick from 53 so he can take his full 30. They'll win.
It's all over. It's all over. They cannot be beaten. The siren rings out around the MCG. They've done it again, the Pies. Crisp the kick after the siren, but it doesn't matter. It goes
7 points.
Point. They win by 7 points in a truly unforgettable game of football. And this Collingwood team is just a force that can't be stopped.
Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades shout. For the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
It's the thriller that means more than all before. 11 in a row for Collingwood. They have taken Melbourne twice this season, overrunning them on the MCG. The Demons led by 8 points at quarter time, 17 at the half and 7 at three-quarter time. But Collingwood kicked 4 goals to 2 in the final term. In fact, they kicked 7 goals to 3 after half-time. They emerged 7-point victors, 15-6 96 to 13-11 89.
They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades shout. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
For the winners, Elliott and Johnson kicked 4 goals each. 2 for Myercheck, with singles to Lipinski, DeGoey, Josh Dacos, McCreery and Cox. For Melbourne, 2 for Fritsch and 2 for Brown, and singles to Salem, Petrarca, Viney, Spargo, Langdon, Melcham, Neil Bullen, Sparrow and Pickett. In front of 70,956 fans, Collingwood beat Melbourne by 7 points. Just take this in. It is send a chill right to the core of your being.
It's fantastic. It's cultish.
There's just something that can't be measured.
It's brilliant. Collingwood, DNA, bloodlines. I came in thinking, yeah, Collingwood fans believe they have the right to win now. You know what? It got to that last quarter. I reckon the Collingwood players believed their right was to win this. Gee, they played a smart game in the end. They gave away a few opportunities in the first half. And I can't really remember them kicking down the line to Big Max Gawn in the second half. They changed their angles. They stopped giving the ball back to May, Lever and Maxi. He was still brave. He was still fantastic. But I'll tell you what, that trick worked. It was only a one-trick pony, but it worked. They got the ball going. Their pressure is extreme in the forward half. And Jamie Elliott didn't have a heap of the ball, but he kicked 4 goals. What he did at ground level. Look at this.
Now they celebrate with their fans, asking for more and more and more as they fan out to share the footies. There's a mystical force at play here.
The last time I felt this kind of aura was when they knocked over Richmond here in that preliminary final.
2018.
It's absolutely brilliant to observe. Said last week they stretched the imagination further than any other team, and really in many a year.
Yeah.
That's 11 in a row.
Well, the good thing is Melbourne haven't been up one week and down the next. Melbourne were up last week, but they got their game back, and guess what? They still had their game back at half-time. So they didn't sag, they didn't wilt, they didn't turn up with a bad game plan, they didn't turn up overconfident. They still gave it Melbourne's best performance until half-time. And Collingwood outplayed them in the second half while they are at the top of their game.
Yep.
What an extreme performance and an anomaly with the statistics. I keep saying it, with the inside 50s, plus 24, and they won. Sorry, minus 24 inside 50s, and they won the game.
Yes, and they progressively seized control of that final term, didn't they? As for all those numbers that have been pitted against them,
they mean nothing in the end, don't they?
Hit the front headed, hit the front again, and then really didn't give Melbourne a look at getting back to the front.
No, 21-7 centre clearances, plus 14 times they went out the front of the centre square. I thought when Maxi went in there with 8 minutes to go, 7 minutes to go, he got the first one out. They ran, Neil Bullen ran into an open goal from 40 out, and then Maxi powered his way to single-handedly kick the ball forward, which Pickett marked. I thought, they'll run over them here. But to go his power around stoppage, their knowledge of how to play the forward half game. I mean, there's a few young heads in this Collingwood team, and we kind of think, yeah, they're young. But I tell you what, they have got a load of experience sprinkled through this team. Not sprinkled, plotted in this team, and they give them knowledge how to win these types of games. It's not by accident.
The Magpie players soak up all of what their Collingwood faithful can give. They'll be on such a high as they head down the tunnel to sing the song. They've got a share of first place right now. They're 60 points. They're a game clear of Melbourne. Second is theirs. And the Demons are vulnerable to Sydney, who are only a couple of percentage points behind. And the Swans a chance to add to that against North Melbourne and maybe knock the Demons down to fourth.
Well, the D's have got Carlton and then Brisbane in the last round at the Gabba.
The Magpies had parity with contested possessions in the last quarter, so they fought the fight, and then they were able to equalise in that area and play that forward half game. And then the talent of their forwards. I'll tell you what, the kid as well, that set shot after being pushed in the back, Ash Johnson. I mean, that's great to see.
Yeah.
That's the biggest moment in his sporting life, that boy, right then. It's fantastic to watch those moments.
Taylor Adams there to greet all of his teammates. Warm embraces as they come in. And we just watch the belief grow in this group. 7-point victors tonight. And a song that will have a whole lot embedded in it. Making sure that the stragglers are going to be part of it. They won short. Jamie Elliott's just arrived. I think they're all... There's no one up top that I can see, so...
They're all looking to the door. Well, there's one more to come. Taylor Adams is in there. He's not joining in the circle. He's having a laugh on the outside. Still waiting.
Someone missing.
Come on.
Do a head count?
Who is it? It's Jamie Elliott. He brings his kids in.
In the course of this season, Collingwood 15-6-96 defeat Melbourne 13-11-89 and take their place in second place on the AFL table. Dermot Burton to wrap it all up for you next on AFL Nation.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for Tyre Power, your matchday favourites for tyre safety.
Footy is made up by lots of bite-sized plays. A good pass here, a nice kick there, maybe snaffling possession. But adding up all of these bite-sized plays can get you big wins. It's the same with Snaffle. Get stuff you want now and pay it off with bite-sized payments. Now that's a huge win. Snaffle. Grab a Snaffle wallet today at snaffle.com.au.
Terms, conditions, fees, charges and lending criteria apply. Credit provided by Walker Stores Proprietary Limited. Australian Credit Licence 393023.
Jetfire heaters from the makers of trusted Australian brand Spitwater are highly efficient, robust and very portable. Industrial, LPG and diesel-fired space heaters. Jetfire heaters come with a fully automatic safe ignition, providing instant reliable heat and are Australian Gas Association approved to the latest safety standards. With distribution, sales and service centres located in Brisbane, Sydney, Albury, Melbourne, Adelaide and Perth, and authorised dealers in all major centres throughout Australia. Call 1-800-SPITWATER now or visit spitwater.com.au today.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab steel kit buildings and custom designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Safety Steel. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
At Elders Insurance, our support for our local community is hands-on. From local football to your favourite events, we give back in the ways that matter most to you. And because we live and work where you do, we can take the time to get to know you and your needs, as well as our community. Find your local agent at eldersinsurance.com.au or call 13 56 22. Elders Insurance is underwritten by QBE. Visit eldersinsurance.com.au to read the PDS and TMD to decide if this product is right for you.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. Naturally, my first love is beautiful National Floor Tiles. But I must say, this all-new hybrid flooring we have at National Tiles runs a very close second. At National Tiles, prices on hybrid flooring are just incredible. As an example, we've got circa $40 hybrid flooring at just $29.95 every day of the year. That's a massive saving of 25%. So rush into National Tiles now and save.
Victorian harness racing just got bigger with all the exciting action on Trots Vision. It's an enhanced online platform with every Victorian harness race streamed live. Enjoy exclusive content, the daily form, tips from Australia's most respected racing analysts and more. Trots Vision brings you all the live action every day at home or on your phone. And best of all, it's free. Lap up Trots Vision. Lap up the trots. Visit thetrots.com.au.
All right, I'm going to the bar. We'll be back in a tick.
Seriously? They just bounced the ball, mate. Wait till quarter time.
Won't be long this time. Come on. Hurry up. So many people. What? What did I miss? Who scored?
Spending more time queuing for drinks than watching the game? You won't miss a moment if you drink wise.
G'day, Thomas Randall here from Castrol Racing. My Mustang's tearing up the mountain, unlocking over 600 horses. You just don't want to get this wrong. That's why we need to get the technical stuff right, using an engine oil that unlocks more power from the same fuel, whether you're heading to work or going around Bathurst. Castrol Edge unlocks the very edge of performance.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Final score for Macca's. Catch a quarter-pounder range meal at Macca's today. Collingwood 15-6-96 defeat Melbourne 13-11-89. Dermot Burton in place for Shawl Unify. This is the post-game wrap for Coates, where more than higher we're equipped for anything. It's worth just fully teasing out this point, Dermot, before we work the categories around what the stats would tell you if you were going at it blind. Melbourne disposals 409 to 316. Inside 50 is 65-41. Clearances 52 to 32. Centre clearances 21 to 7. Contested possession 161 to 139. Contested marks 14 to 10. Oliver 42, Petrarca 36, Brayshaw 32, Gawn 31, and Viney 30. And came at that blind. How much did they win by?
Melbourne, if they kicked poorly, 4 goals. If they kicked accurately, 7.
Yeah,
they lost. And the other thing is the contested mark count. The chief contested markers were Gawn, May, Ben Brown. Lever didn't get that much of the contested mark, but he still got in the way of it a few times. So for most of the game, it was on their terms. I would seriously say, even though they've got to 89 points, for the amount of opportunity, and Collingwood's back line is pretty good. It's not world's best. It's pretty good. They don't maximise opportunities, the Melbourne forward line. And you think about it, a lot of their goals came on the run. So they're coming out of the midfield. They're coming out of express play. It's not a forward going, I did this bloke, this opponent, my backman, I beat him. And I've turned around and kicked the goal. They don't get all that many like that. Well, they didn't tonight. So there's a couple of issues there. It's not dread, but you'd want to address that. So if you're someone like Sam Wiedemann, don't hang up the towel for this year and say they're not putting me back in. Give us a few good performances. But I looked at that. Gawn, May, they were fantastic in the first half. Collingwood went around them after half-time. They were still good at servants, those two, but Collingwood played a smarter game. The final thing I'll say about the way this game was played, in the first half, let's say there's a stoppage somewhere between the two 50s in the midfield. Collingwood would orchestrate a loose man, being Nick Dacos, 15 to 20 metres off the pack on the defensive side. Once the ball got to Collingwood's hands, he'd go past at express pace and look to carve up the opposition, put Melbourne under pressure. Melbourne would play a man out the back of everything in the opposite end, and he would be like the goalkeeper. So he could survey everything in front of him. He wasn't on the back of the pack. And I thought it worked better for Melbourne in the first half. And after half-time, when it turned into helter-skelter, it worked better for Collingwood. Now, who knows which is the better play? Yep. Except one team won, and they shouldn't have been, if you're looking at that stat sheet. And that's the wonderful thing about our game, with no offside rule, with all these spasmodic plays that come into account. Oh, it was a fantastic game. It was a really enjoyable occasion to be here. Wonderful efforts everywhere. There was some bravery, there was some physical stuff in it. Yeah, I really enjoyed this game tonight.
All right, let's pick through a few categories. You just make sure you've got the votes in order. So I'll do the first few. MEGT Rookie of the Day, your local apprenticeship experts. Well, that just has to be Ash Johnson. When his 4th game kicks 4 goals. MEGT supporting employers and apprentices for more than 40 years. Crucial moment for New Farm Australian through and through when the Dacos boys went to work. Nick Dacos to Josh Dacos, who kicked that just nerveless goal from 45. That was one of the goals that put him in front. The tackle of the day for Toro, count on Toro to get the job done. Just the flat-out steamrolling of Alex Neil-Bullen by Braden Maynard.
Well, he swapped positions. Yeah, well, he swapped positions with Nick Dacos at that stage, and he was the 15-metre, and he went, I've got a live one here. He just ambushed him.
You'll see that over and over. The Amy Clanger for good, who covers Clangers Amy does. Well, Jamie Elliott had a snap shot from the boundary which didn't make the distance. Ash Johnson marked it, and then he kicked it. He missed the... It was further across the goals than it was to get it through the goals by the time he finished, but they still won. Who covers Clangers on and off the field? Amy does. The injury report for Victor Sport. Sign up your club, victorsport.com.au. Hoskin Elliott was subbed out of the game in the 3rd quarter, so we'll wait to hear from Collingwood on that front. The play of the day for Mildura Regional Development. Kings of Leon are ready to rock Mildura Saturday, October 29. Elliott. Elliott's run-down tackles that created goals, he did it twice. He did it once in the first quarter and once in the last quarter.
Try 3 times. He got another one which he actually missed the shot with.
Yes.
He was fantastic at ground level with his pressure.
Toughest player for Hardyacker, legendary gear. Brody Mychek is just so tough.
When he went back with it in third quarter, yeah. Great call.
Took the mark away from May Hardyacker for a new breed of legends. The goal of the game for Host Plus, an industry super fun for all Australians.
You know what? I'm going to double up with this. The pressure associated with it. A 4-game veteran, Ash Johnson, the set shot, I loved it. So many times we see that wonderful snap and it's great execution. But sometimes the stare down, the set shot from 35-40 out on a 45-degree angle in your 4th game in front of 71,000. Well done, young man.
Most improved player for Valvoline. Which oil keeps your business moving? You know Valvoline. Patrick Lipinski, he's missed the goal of the day for that wicked curler from 45. He's working into his season really well. Valvoline, the original engine oil. Unmissable moments. The Collingwood, the drone, the chant at the end of the night for Drinkwise. Choose to Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you drink wise. I don't know whether it's best to avoid Collingwood supporters tonight or just get around them. There might be no more fun people in the world. For AFL Nation's Player of the Year for Whirlpool, your leader in kitchen and laundry appliances, Dermot, the votes.
All right, I'm going to give one to Nick Dacos. There's a couple of moments I thought he was a little shaky early on, but then he settled into his game. Alex Neil-Bullen made him a real little bit fumbly in the first quarter, and that's when they banged on 5 goals, Melbourne. But they fought back, and Dacos... There were times we handed over to Jared Healy to watch the play tonight, and I just watched Dacos. That boy runs so hard at breakneck speed so often. 1 vote to him. I still thought he was fantastic. Christian Petracca, his ability to be a bull around the contest and pump the ball forward. And 3 to, just thought he was fantastic. We've already mentioned him, and he kicked the 4 goals. Jamie Elliott, I'm giving him best.
Elliott 3, Petrarca 2, Nick Dacos 1. The ladder update for Signet Power. Your life with the Signet Power Bank. The Pies are second. 7-point winners.